how you'll get a big-time contract to Vladdy when he's this young and playing this well, essentially.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation, and when you have a player this good, it's high stakes stuff, and it matters a huge amount to the team. I mean, as you said, his seasons 2021 and 2024 comparable, and that's incredible. And it also says 2 times in the last 4 years he's been an absolute monster at the plate. And the other 2 years were good, not great, but he's been an absolute monster 2 of the last 4 years, and he's just entering his prime. He's probably got a few more seasons with this kind of ceiling in him, and then after that, you would still project him to be a very, very good hitter. So that puts him in a good spot for a contract. I think you're right to raise those comps. I think that specifically with the first base comps, like Goldschmidt, Olsen, Alonso, whatever he gets, Freddie Freeman, do not matter. I think those you can completely throw out the window because they're older. So to me, you don't actually have a lot of really good comps for Vladdy. I think Soto is going to be not the right comp because he's a better hitter than Vlad, and because he's going to do it in free agency as opposed to in an extension. And then so that leaves you with not a whole lot of great comps. I mean, Harper, it's a 13-year deal, so the AAV is kind of weird in that one. I think the best one is Rafael Devers, which was $313 in new money, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, I think Vladdy's above that. Like, to me, he's 300 is clearly a floor for Vladdy, in my opinion, and I think it could go well above that, depending on how things are structured. If it even gets to that point, right? He might just hit free agency. We'll see.
Yeah, if he hits free agency, I do wonder if it's like an Aaron Judge situation where I know he was super close to signing with the Giants, and we had the very entertaining Arson Judge couple of moments there, if you recall, Ben. But we ultimately ended up seeing Aaron Judge re-sign with the New York Yankees because ended up what happened. He just took that deal that they offered him, the Giants, and said to Cashman and Steinbrenner, "Hey, sign. I want this deal, otherwise I'm leaving." And they said, "All right, sure, I'll sign on the dotted line." So I kind of wonder if a similar situation might not happen for Vladdy and the Blue Jays. Before I let you run, and again, I appreciate you doing this for me, I wanted to get your expectations for another start from Yariel Rodriguez. Last time out, 5 2/3, 5 hits, just the 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 85 pitches thrown, which was a career high. But again, this is a guy who has not made that many starts in Major League Baseball. What are your expectations for Y-Rod today?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's really about building volume at this point, building game reps, mixing in his different pitches, throwing them for strikes, staying ahead of hitters, all the things that you look for. It's almost, and I know he's older than most, young rookie pitchers, but it's almost like just a developmental opportunity this next 6 weeks. I think everyone obviously would wish it was higher stakes and that these games had more impact on the Blue Jays, playoff chances. But now that ship has sailed, I really just think it's about development. It's about trying to get chances for him to maybe run into a little bit of trouble and overcome it, and maybe push himself physically, learn a bit more about, how hitters are seeing his stuff and how he can adjust midway through at-bats, midway through innings. Those reps are going to be important. And so I think that getting them is a valuable chance for him, and each game is a step forward potentially on that front.
Yariel Rodriguez makes the start for the Blue Jays. Kyle Hendricks will go for the Chicago Cubs. First pitch goes in a couple of minutes across the network. I'm chatting with Ben Nicholson-Smith from Sportsnet.ca and, of course, co-host of the great podcast At The Letters. BNS, appreciate this, man. Always fun catching up with you and hearing your voice. Enjoy the game, and we'll chat soon, man.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Joe. Talk soon.
There he goes. Ben Nicholson-Smith again from Sportsnet.ca and At The Letters. They just released, he and Arden, an episode of At The Letters yesterday, and they will release another episode next Wednesday. So that's the schedule for those guys. But appreciate BNS doing that for me. Always appreciated. Before we get you over to Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue, let's check out the Bet365 standings update. You can watch Bet365 at Bet365. You can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and even make a bet while the game is still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. In the AL East, entering play today, the Yankees overtaking the Orioles atop the division. Baltimore and New York now 72 and 50 after some games yesterday. The Red Sox are 63 and 57. The Rays are 59 and 61. A lot of losing going on for the Rays after their sell-off. And the Blue Jays are 57 and 64. They take on the Cubs, who are themselves 59 and 63. Some updates from the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard as well. Not a lot of games going on right now because we are the only day game, but at 6:40 p.m. Eastern, 4 games get going, including the Yankees taking on the Tigers. Let's get to the lineup from John Schneider. George Springer is batting leadoff. He is in right field. Dalton Varsho is batting second. He's in center field. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is batting third. He is at first base, batting cleanup. DHing today is Spencer Horwitz. Catching today is Alejandro Kirk, batting fifth. Batting sixth, Will Wagner. He's at second base. Ernie Clement is at third base, batting seventh. Batting eighth is Joylo Perfido at left field, and Leo Jimenez is at shortstop. He is batting ninth. For Craig Counsell's Chicago Cubs, Ian Happ is batting leadoff. He's in left field. Michael Busch is at first base, batting second. Batting third is Seiya Suzuki. He is DHing. Cody Bellinger is in right field, batting cleanup. Isak Paredes at third base, batting fifth. Batting sixth is Nico Horner. He's at second base. Dansby Swanson is batting seventh. He's at shortstop. Pete Crow Armstrong is in center field, batting eighth. And batting ninth, catching for the Cubs, is Miguel Amaya. Kyle Hendricks pitches for Chicago. All right, we are getting pretty close to first pitch at Wrigley Field, so let's get you over to the action today with the call. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Show. About to start the first inning, which is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. Just moments away from first pitch at Wrigley Field, a 3-game set between the Blue Jays and the Cubs. And warming up right now, the Californian right-hander, 6'3", 190 pounds. Kyle Hendricks is on the mound. Chris, he's been around for a long time, has had a very successful career. This year, though, has been a step back.
Yeah, he's been around since 2014, and if you look at his numbers, this is by far his worst major league season, an ERA almost 7. His velocity is relatively the same, but I take a look at the strikeout numbers and the walk numbers, and they're just not where they need to be.
Hendricks is getting ready on the mound. George Springer is stepping into the batter's box. Blue Jays in their baby blue jerseys and pants. The Cubs wear dark blues today as Springer steps into the righty box and looks out at Hendricks. Right-hander, glove overhead, steps to the left in the pitch. Down and away, ball 1. Time of the first pitch today, 2:20 Eastern, 1:20 local in Chicago, 28 degrees Celsius, 83 Fahrenheit, as the next pitch misses down and away, ball 2. And Hendricks, he's a push and pull guy, mix the speeds, get you off balance. Just delivered 2 fastballs at 86 miles an hour. The 2-0. On the outside corner, strike 1.
Yeah, he's never been a flamethrower. From what I can remember, his fastball maybe tops out at 91, 92. A lot of movement, but an incredibly cerebral guy. He'll mix, like you said.
2-1 pitch. Fouled back. Springer stumbling out of the box. It's 2-2. Changeup, sinker, four-seamer, and curveball for Hendricks. He'll throw that changeup a lot. Has started Springer with 4 straight sinkers. 2-2. Hit on the ground to third, foul. Fielded by Carlos Fablis, Blue Jays third base coach. It's still 2-2. With Hendricks debuting in 2014, he was there when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, was a big part of that team. Right-hander into the wind, the pitch. Hit on the ground sharply, diving stop at third. Isak Paredes gets up and throws to first to retire George Springer.
And that was a changeup right down the middle. George Springer hit it on the nose, but Isak Paredes, the new Cub, coming over from the Rays, makes the incredible play in the hole. Gets up, throws a strike to first base. What a play.
Blue Jays fans know him well. Cubs fans are still getting to know Paredes, who was acquired at the deadline. He had to dive full stretch to get that one hopper. Now Dalton Varsho up with 1 out. Fouls back the first pitch. 0-1. Home plate umpire today is Sean Barber. Ryan Blackney at first. Jim Wolf at second. And Alan Porter at third. Varsho batting from the left side. Faces the 0-1. Outside.
Dalton Varsho has been a ton better recently over the last couple of weeks or so, swinging at pitches he can hit, laying off those fastballs up at the hand, something that he struggled mightily with for the better part of this season.
Swings at the 1-1 and hits it softly on the ground to first. Michael Busch, the rookie, flips back to Hendricks, who just gets Varsho sprinting to first. Varsho somersaulted over the bag, but he's all right. 2 down.
That was a great changeup from Hendricks. Starts down the middle and then has so much fade. You can tell that's his go-to pitch. 80 miles an hour, and Dalton Varsho was way out in front of that thing.
He just beat Varsho to the bag by half a step. Strong start for Hendricks, but here comes the biggest problem if you're a pitcher on the other side. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. stepping in with 2 outs. No score, top of the first, and the .323 hitter fastens into the back of the righty box. First pitch. Taken down the middle for strike 1.
And that's the one right there. If you're Vlad, you're probably shaking your head wondering, why wasn't I ready for that mid-80s fastball belt high?
Now the 0-1. They work him inside, and he hits it on the ground to third. Picked up by Paredes. A throw over to first, and that's a quick top of the first inning. 11 pitches Kyle Hendricks uses to get the Blue Jays in order. We go to the bottom of the first inning, where Yariel Rodriguez takes the mound next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 minutes.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Toronto Blue Jays matchup against the Chicago Cubs. It's a little bit of interleague action. Both teams struggling this season, trying to make their way to the 500 mark and possibly a playoff push for the Cubs, but probably not for our Jays. Appreciate you being here. Smash that like button down below. Please take a minute, make sure that like button is hit so that we can get more Blue Jays fans and Cubs fans here in the chat with us, hanging out, tearing it up. Now let's go Blue Jays. Let's have some fun today, and don't forget about our SickKids summer rally that we're running right now. Check that link in the description, and we'll see you guys in the chat. Any little bit helps. Go Jays, go.
24. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Runner going, throw down to second. They got him.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue, Show Ali, our host and producer, David Sis producing as well, and Tom Young, our technical director today. Yariel Rodriguez taking the mound for the Blue Jays against the Chicago Cubs. For Rodriguez, his 13th start of the season, 1-5 with a 3.60 ERA.
Yeah, he's been up and down. Let's just be quite honest. In his last start, he threw 85 pitches, his highest pitch total of 2024. Look for him to probably be about 80-85 here today.
Delivers his first pitch of the day to the switch hitter, Ian Happ, who swings from the left side and hits it on the ground past the dive of Guerrero, rolling toward the right field corner. Cut off by Springer. Happ looking for second base, and he's got a double on the first pitch that Yariel Rodriguez throws.
Well, that was just a get-me-over fastball, 93 right down the middle. And Ian Happ jumped all over it, ripping it down the line past a diving Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What I want to see today from Yariel Rodriguez, I want to see him throw that split finger more, especially to a couple of the left-handed hitters. He's thrown some good ones this season. Sometimes he shies away from it. I want to see him really get out front and throw that thing a little bit more today.
We'll have opportunity to do it. 3 left-handed hitters and the switch hitter Happ, who just doubled. Here's one of those lefty swingers now, Michael Busch, the first baseman. A look at second in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. You mentioned the splitter. The full mix for Rodriguez is four-seamer, slider, curve, sinker, and splitter. With the arm angles and the hesitations, it feels like he makes it even more pitches than just those 5. Goes up top and misses above the zone with a fastball, 1-1. Cuban right-hander nodding his head, tucks the ball into his glove, belt high. Brings the glove up to his face. The 1-1. Curveball drops in, strike 2.
And Yariel is probably a bit nervous today. His first time at Wrigley. Wrigley is one of the most magical places, not only in baseball, but in all of sports. So the heart rate is probably pumping a little bit. Might be a little bit erratic in this first inning. He'll probably get locked in, though.
Gave up a double on the first pitch. Now ahead of Michael Busch, 1-2 with Ian Happ on second. No score, bottom of the first inning, nobody out. The pitch. Up and away, ball 2. You had plenty of time at Wrigley Field. What was it like there?
I did. I was pre-renovation, so I was like super archaic when you talk about baseball and all of the scoreboards and the stuff that you see nowadays. But it's probably a different place now than when I played.
2-2 pitch hit foul, still 2-2.
They've renovated the visiting locker rooms. They've renovated the bridgeway that the visiting team used to walk over the concourse there. You could look down and see everybody drinking their beers and eating their hot dogs. It was really, really unique. I think it's a little bit more normal now in terms of how advanced it is, but still a super cool place to be.
Another 2-2 hit foul again.
And we were talking about this earlier. The visiting locker room used to be tiny. It used to be like a high school locker room. And I honestly, truly don't know what it looks like now. You might have been there post 2014, I think is when they renovated it. But it was so fun. You were sandwiched in with everybody. There was the probably 10 lockers somewhere else that we didn't even know where they were because the locker room was so small and the teams were so big. But
2-2 again. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Dials it back for 95, and Rodriguez gets Busch for the first out.
Good fastball right there. 95. That's a good sign. Up at the top of the strike zone, maybe just above that strike zone. Route number 1, strikeout number 1.
A big out for Yariel Rodriguez after the Ian Happ double. Trying to make this a scoreless first and keep this game 0-0. Seiya Suzuki coming up next. Happ on second, 1 out, the pitch. High ball 1.
What's your favorite part about Wrigley? You were there when you were a kid.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good things. The ivy is the obvious one. The bleachers, I think, stand out as well. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss at a high slider. But for me, and this does feel convenient, I think this is the best thing. Friday day games at Wrigley Field. It's so fun. You get people out in the sunlight in Chicago. It's been a tradition forever. 2 looks at second in the 1-1. Down and away, 2-1.
Let's get Rogers to jump on that. Friday day game at Rogers Center. That sounds pretty great.
I'm going to let you go to the bosses, and I'll stand right behind you.
Let me text message Ed Rogers real quick, see what he's up to.
Sunlight pouring over Wrigley Field right now. The 2-1 to Suzuki. Way up and in. And he spins out of the way and jogs a couple steps out of the box. Now wiping some sweat off his forehead. That was a close call for the right-handed hitter.
And again, we mentioned the nerves. Probably some nerves. I think people forget that Yariel is a true rookie. This is his 13th career Major League game. So you might see a little bit of erraticness from that fastball. You see Alejandro Kirk saying, get out front.
Throws the slider, and Suzuki pops it up middle of the diamond. Kirk out in front of the plate, called off by Ernie Clement, who comes in front of the mound and makes the catch. 2 down. But yeah, if I had to pick one thing about Wrigley Field, the Friday day games, great crowd at Wrigley Field. You always get the 7th inning stretch. Celebrity singer Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I believe Stephen Colbert is singing it today at Wrigley Field. So
I don't know if I want to hear that.
You can stretch during the 7th inning instead. 2 down, and Cody Bellinger at the plate takes a first pitch strike. 0-1. No score, Blue Jays and Cubs. 2 outs, Ian Happ on second after a leadoff double. Bottom of the first inning. 2019 National League MVP Cody Bellinger in his second season now with Chicago. 0-1. Swings and belts a ball. Deep right center field. Springer turning around. That ball's gone. 2-run homer for Cody Bellinger, his 13th of the season, and the Cubs take a 2-0 lead in the first.
Well, Yariel Rodriguez snuck a curveball in there for strike one, and they tried to come back with another curveball. They weren't trying to throw that thing down the middle, but it ended up just spinning over the middle. Cody Bellinger was ready for it and drilled it over that ivy in right field.
Rodriguez nearly escaping that leadoff double, but instead the Cubs make him pay. And this is a welcome sign for Craig Counsell's team, who has been struggling at the plate recently.
Yeah, that was a good swing from Cody Bellinger. Not really swinging like he was last year, but it's a good one right there on that hanging breaking ball.
First pitch to Isaac Paredes after the home run is roped foul. 0-1.
But still a pretty good year. 276, 12 home runs, 46 RBIs coming into today's ball game. I'd sign him again.
Well, they have him under contract, kind of, as the 0-1 pitch is lifted to shallow right center field. Springer racing in, makes the catch, and we'll have more on Bellinger. Coming up later, he hits a 2-run homer, though, and gives the Cubs a first-inning lead, 2-0 Chicago after 1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
You're about to come in to some best.
Be inspired by Joel and Victoria Osteen.
Best opportunity, best relationship, best health.
Hear motivational messages whenever you need them.
The best part of your life is not behind you. The best part of your life is the next part of your life.
Be inspired 24/7.
You haven't seen, heard, or imagined what God has in store.
On Joel Osteen Radio, Sirius XM 128, and on the Sirius XM app.
The 2024 Training Camp Tour rolls on.
Focus on the football, fellas. Focus, focus.
And Sirius XM.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Blue Jays game. Just a reminder, tomorrow, Saturday evening, we've got the Bills going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A little bit of primetime action since week 1 of the preseason when the Bills got smacked by the Chicago Bears. That was a day game. We've got a night game coming up on Saturday. I hope you will join us. Please make sure that bell is turned on so you see when we go live for any of our Toronto sports action or Buffalo Bills action. Anyways, Bills got to turn it around. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Hope you'll join us. See you then.
And on the all-new SiriusXM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yes!
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's the second inning presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. 2-0 Cubs as we go to the second inning. Cody Bellinger with a first inning home run has given Chicago the lead, but the Blue Jays bring up the middle of the order. Spencer Horwitz, Alejandro Kirk, and Will Wagner to bat in the second against Kyle Hendricks. Right on left, Hendricks' pitch to Horwitz. Taken for strike one. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue, and a lot going on today at Wrigley Field. It's the start of Players Weekend, 0-1. Down and away, ball one. And with Apple TV covering the broadcast today on television, some players mic'd up. Ernie Clement is on a mic on Apple TV right now as Horwitz takes in the dirt, 2-1.
What do you think he's talking about?
I couldn't even begin to guess. Ernie's got a very lively personality.
That he does.
Fun guy. It could be anything. 2-1. Called strike. Looked a little off the plate outside, but a close pitch. It's 2-2.
We need to get an Ernie Clement fun guy T-shirt like the Kawhi Leonard one.
Oh, yeah. Horwitz, a .267 hitter this year, faces the 2-2 and hits it in the air, center field. Going back, Pete Crow Armstrong just in front of the ivy. He makes the catch on the track. 1 out.
Spencer Horwitz went down and got that curveball from Kyle Hendricks, a really slow breaking ball. He throws that thing 73, 74 miles an hour, and he drilled it to just in front of that warning track out there in center field.
Blue Jays looking for their first base runner as we're here in the top of the second inning. 1 out, and now Alejandro Kirk is up. The pitch. Strike 1.
And the Cubs, I believe, are wearing their City Connect jerseys with Wrigleyville across the chest. I don't know if I love them. I like the old school jerseys.
They have great uniforms in general. 0-1. Down and away, 1-1.
What's your honest opinion?
I like him. I'll be honest, I like him. It's a nod to the neighborhood as well. Just part of the reason they have these Friday day games in Chicago, because they don't want noise late in the neighborhood in Wrigleyville. 1-1 pitch. Kirk takes it at the knees, strike 2. Kyle Hendricks moving along so far. You mentioned Horwitz hit the curveball in the air. Is there a pitch that you would look to go after if you're hitting against Hendricks?
All of his stuff is so slow, and his fastball and changeup move so much that it's really hard to kind of to sit back and wait for one. But if you just hunt the fastball, his fastball is mid 80s. It's not that difficult to hit, but that's what I'm doing if I'm a hitter. I'm just hunting that fastball.
1-2 pitch is a fastball hit on the ground to third. Isaac Paredes has had a busy day. He throws over to first and gets Kirk 2 outs.
And you see how sneaky that fastball is, though. It's 86 to 89 miles an hour, but he just blew up Alejandro Kirk there with that 89 mile an hour sinker in on the hands. You can't really explain it, but that's why I said before the broadcast, he's such a cerebral guy. Just when you think you have him pegged, you know what pitch is coming, he throws something different.
5 up, 5 down for Hendricks, but here's his pitch to Will Wagner in his third major league game. He takes outside, ball 1. Wagner 5 for 8 to start his major league career with 3 doubles. What have you thought of the rookie so far?
It's been incredible. He looks like he's been around for a couple of years, almost like a Spencer Horwitz when he started coming up.
Wagner takes strike 1 right down the middle.
What about you? This is the first time you're seeing him in the flesh.
I mean, it's been impressive. You know, there's no way around 5 for 8 with 3 doubles. 1-1 pitch outside. Really good take there on the changeup. 2-1.
I can't tell you how many people have come up to me over the last couple of days. Why wasn't Will Wagner in the lineup the other day? Why was he taken out? There was a left-hander. Tyler Anderson's a left-handed pitcher. You don't want to give the guy too much this early.
2-1 pitch is high, maybe a little outside. 3-1 count. It'll be interesting, though, and we won't get too deep into this, but the next 2 days, lefty starters for the Cubs. How much does Wagner play? How much does Loperfido play against the Southpaws? Right now, the righty Hendricks winds and delivers, and the 3-1 pitch is popped up foul behind home plate, out of play, full count.
Well, I think it depends on how Will Wagner looks today, how Loperfido looks today. If they get a couple of hits each, throw them back in the lineup.
Wagner trying to get aboard for the first time today. 2-0 Cubs. 2 outs and the bases empty. Top of the second. 3-2 pitch is hit well and up the middle for a base hit rolling into right center field. Wagner around first. A big turn, but he stops there, and he's got his 6th hit in 9 at-bats.
And the interesting thing about that swing is they're not dribblers through the hole. He is hitting them on the screws. That one right there, he goes down and gets that changeup and hits a good line drive up the middle. A tough 3-2 changeup from Hendricks. I'm telling you, he looks like he's been around for so many years.
Wagner on first as the Blue Jays first base runner. The pitch to mic'd up Ernie Clement is strike 1.
6 for 9.
6 for 9. Clement on quite a roll himself, now batting .273 on the season. Swings at the 0-1 and hits that up the middle on a line. That's another base hit as Wagner moves up to second, and the Blue Jays have 2 on with 2 outs.
Pretty good piece of hitting right there from Ernie Clement with the pencil bat. You don't see that every day, but It is Players Weekend, so he's swinging a unique bat there. But that's a tough pitch, a tough sinker down and in. He just golfs it up the middle for a base hit.
The Clement bat has kind of the wood of the pencil going up near the top, and then you get the metal holding the eraser and the eraser tip at the top. Joey Loperfido now up with 2 on and 2 outs. Swings at the first pitch and hammers it down the right field line. Foul ball. Just missed extra bases and potential RBIs.
I used to see that pencil bat used as a fungo. A lot of the coaches had the pencil. I think that's how it started with the fungos. The coaches swing those bat to hit ground balls. But over the last couple of years, we've started to see it as a real bat that players are using during baseball games. I don't know if I love it. It's cool. It's fun. But I like to see it as a fungo more so than an actual game-used bat.
And for a lot of these guys, it's just a Players Weekend bat at least. Used to have the custom jerseys. Loperfido picks his bat back up and is in the lefty box. The 0-1. Takes it on the inside edge. Called strike. It's 0-2.
I'm starting to sound like a crotchety old man. I don't like the uniforms. I don't like the bats they're using.
That's all right. You're youthful in many ways. Rookie Loperfido up with runners on first and second and 2 outs. 2-0 Cubs in the pitch. Bounced down and away. 1-2. Loperfido hitting a hair over 200 on the season, split between Houston and Toronto. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ties him up with a fastball up and in, and Hendricks leaves the pair of base hits aboard to keep it 2-0 Cubs, middle of the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hey, Blue Jays fans, are you ready to hit a home run with your next roof? Introducing GAF Timberline HDZ shingles, designed to keep your roof looking and feeling like a winner, rain or shine. GAF is proud to be the official shingle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Visit homedepot.ca and search GAF to learn more about how GAF Timberline HDZ roofing shingles can elevate your home to the next level. GAF, we protect what matters most.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Behold, the mightiest assembly ever witnessed. We are all gathered in the darkness. Together we can be the light. I call upon every crew. We need you all to join our fight for a new SickKids, and we need you now. Who's with us? Who is with us?
Are you with us, insiders? Let's go. You heard the man. Let's donate some money to SickKids. Anything that you can is a huge help. Cheers, insiders. Let's change the world.
With a trio of strikeouts to end a scoreless 6.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the second inning at Wrigley Field. Cubs leading the Blue Jays 2-0. Thanks so much for tuning in for this Friday matinee. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Nico Horner, the second baseman for the Cubs, leading off this inning. Dansby Swanson and Pete Crow Armstrong will hit as well against Yariel Rodriguez, who's looking to bounce back after giving up a double and a 2-run homer in the first. Horner, a right-handed hitter, stepping in right now for the Cubs. .256 batter on the season. 5 home runs and 36 RBIs. Makes a lot of his money with speed and very good defense. Rodriguez steps to the left, nods his head mid-wind, and delivers. Fastball hit on the ground, foul.
Well, he really only made one bad pitch in the last inning, that hanging breaking ball to Cody Bellinger. They wanted it down out of the strike zone. Unfortunately, it was just a spinner over the middle, but other than that, he looked pretty solid.
Time called as Horner steps out of the box. They reset the clock, and Horner taps the plate and steps back in. The 0-1. Fastball hit on the ground to second. Wagner picks up the low hop and throws over to first. 1 out. Took kind of a funky bounce at the end there. Was bouncing high and then skipped low near his ankles, and Wagner made the adjustment.
Yeah, it almost looked like he was going to scoot underneath him. Will Wagner wasn't really bent at the knees because he was expecting a high bounce. Luckily for him, he was able to get down quickly and make that play.
Speaking of good defense, Dansby Swanson steps in, a 2-time Gold Glove shortstop. The pitch from Rodriguez, swing and a miss. Ugly hack there on the fastball, 0-1. 2-0 Cubs, 1 out in the bottom of the second. And Swanson trying to get out of what's been an unproductive year by his standards. 0-1. Down and away. 229 on the year for Swanson, 9 homers, 41 RBIs. Guy who you could pencil in for 20 home runs the last couple seasons. 1-1. Up and in, ball 2.
Yeah, he's had at least 22 homers the last 3 seasons before this one. Probably won't get there this year.
Swanson with an underhanded swing brings his black bat onto his right shoulder. 2-1 pitch. Holds back on a fastball that just missed outside. 3-1. Rodriguez winds and delivers. Inside, ball 4, a 5-pitch walk to Swanson.
Seemed like he was nibbling just a little bit during that at-bat. You see a guy come to the plate with 1 out who only has 9 homers, hitting .229. You want to get ahead and stay ahead with fastballs down in the zone. It just looked to me like Yariel was trying to do too much during that at-bat.
We'll see how he tries to bounce back here against Pete Crow Armstrong, center fielder for the Cubs. First pitch fastball misses up and away. Crow Armstrong, or PCA as they call him in Chicago, in his rookie season. 208 hitter, 4 homers. 1-0. Called strike with the heater on the outside edge. Crow Armstrong, the 19th overall pick in 2020 by the Mets. Faces a 1-1. Swings and misses at a good splitter, down and away.
That's right. That's the one I wanted to see early on. When he stays on top of that splitter, he really gets a lot of movement. That one right there to Crow Armstrong was pretty good.
In the set, first base side of the rubber. The pitch home. Went back to the splitter, but this one too far outside. It's taken for ball 2.
And you could see that he didn't get on top of that pitch. It was. I've said this before. He kind of threw it like a pizza, which means that palm got underneath it, and it didn't have the downward movement that it did in the first pitch.
2-2 offering, popped up in between the mound and first base. Guerrero walks onto the infield grass and makes the catch. 2 outs. When you look at the splitter, let's throw the knuckleball to the side. Is that the hardest pitch to execute in baseball, or where does it rank? Because it is kind of a unique grip.
So interestingly enough, when I went over to Japan, that's the pitch over there. Early on, like in my career, the pitch over in the United States was the slider. Everybody threw the slider, but if you go to Japan, everybody throws the split finger. So on my first day, they were like, "Do you throw a split finger?"
First pitch, a swing and a miss by Miguel Amaya, the catcher, 0-1.
And I didn't. So I had to learn how to throw the split finger. And my fingers don't have much separation. If you have a good split finger, generally.
Next pitch fouled back, 0-2.
Your fingers can separate pretty easily. So when I was at home, when I was sitting on the couch, I would stuff a baseball in between my pointer finger and my middle finger and try to stretch to get some separation, and it just never happened. It's a really, really hard pitch to throw, and Yariel has shown that he can throw that pitch.
His 0-2 to Amaya is popped up foul. Guerrero tracking it toward the dugout, but it's into the seats.
I've never talked to him about it. I've never really looked at his fingers when he throws it, but I would imagine that there's a decent amount of flexibility between those two fingers. There has to be. If you're throwing that pitch in a game at Wrigley Field in the major leagues, you have to be able to fit a full baseball in between those two fingers, which is really hard to do.
Threw a good one last at bat. That's why he's got 2 outs here. Dansby Swanson on first. 2-0 Cubs lead, bottom of the second. From the stretch, his 0-2 to Amaya. Splitter hit on the ground to short. Backhanded by Jimenez. Long throw over to first. Guerrero comes off the bat, catches it, and tags Amaya to end the inning. Pitching around the walk, Rodriguez keeps it 2-0 Cubs as we go to the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Pizza.ca. We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network.
Cheers, Insiders. I just wanted to take a second to say thank you so much for hanging out with us all the time for these Blue Jays games and helping us continue to grow this amazing Toronto sports community. We are doing big things with our SickKids hospital donation. A portion of our revenue from every single game goes to SickKids in donation. As well, we are up to $200. So thank you for the help so far. We are at a goal of 1,000. We've got some work to do. Please, anything that you can is a huge help to these kids at SickKids Hospital. They've touched my life, and I'm sure they've touched a lot of your lives as well. So please, go SickKids, go. Click that link, and we'll see you back in the chat. Thank you. Let's make a real world difference together. Cheers, everybody.
Out of here! Davis Snyder wins it!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's the third inning, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Brampton and Georgetown, Ontario. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. Canada's #1 rust protection. Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue, Blue Jays at Wrigley Field, trailing the Cubs 2-0. Leo Jimenez will lead off the top of the third, with the top of the order coming after that, George Springer and Dalton Varsho. A fun atmosphere, a Friday day game in Chicago. Jimenez into the box and veteran Cub Kyle Hendricks into the wind. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1. Cubs play more day games than anyone in Major League Baseball. 1-0. Swing and a line shot foul.
It's a pretty good feeling, though, when it's a Friday and it feels like a Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel about it, man.
And I think, I've heard some back and forth in looking up how Cubs players feel about day games all the time. 1-1. Inside 2-1. There was a quote at one point that great Cub pitcher Kerry Wood said that part of the reason they struggled for so long was day games all the time. I think the 2016 Cubs kind of proved that wrong in a way. They won the World Series. But lots of fans show up. 2-1 pitch called, strike 2-2. In a work from home kind of world these days, a lot of people are out of the office on a Friday.
Yeah. I think that kind of goes with the Chris Bassett statement of the roof was closed versus the roof was open.
2-2. Jimenez lines it foul again.
And let's be honest, Rogers Center with the roof open is infinitely better than with the roof closed. It's kind of like Wrigley Field, where a day game is a lot better than a night game.
This was the ballpark That was the last one in Major League Baseball to get lights. They only got lights in the 80s at Wrigley Field. 2-2 pitch down and away, 3-2. And I'm saying permanent lights. There were some situations where there were temporary lights. But they love playing in the sunshine in Chicago. Shade comes over the field as the 3-2 goes to Jimenez. And another foul ball.
Leo well behind that 88-mile-an-hour fastball from Hendricks. Just a sneaky fastball.
Do you think that means he's sitting change or breaking ball? Or it's just so hard to pull the trigger on Hendricks?
Yeah, probably. I think that's the one.
3-2 is pounded into the ground to third. Charging in, Paredes bare hands, throws to first and gets him by half a step. Really nice play at third for Isaac Paredes, who's made 4 infield assists so far.
Well, I didn't think Paredes had a chance at Leo Jimenez at first base, but he makes a great barehanded play coming in, throwing across his body, a strike to first base. Wow.
Just barely got Leo Jimenez, whose foot was in the process of coming down on the bag when that ball was caught at first by Michael Busch. Lineup flips over with 1 out in the top of the third. The pitch to George Springer. Inside, ball 1.
But again, Leo was absolutely blown up by that fastball. It was just an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. There's guys that I play against in the Inter-County League with the Toronto Maple Leafs that throw 88 miles an hour.
1-0. Inside, 2-0. George Springer also robbed of a hit by a nice Isaac Paredes play in the first inning, a diving stop at third. 2-0 pitch. Down and away, 3 balls and no strikes. Springer hitting .218 on the year, 16 doubles, 14 homers. 3-0 offering. Fouled back, was going after a fastball there. Kind of leaned back and stumbled out of the box after hitting it. Second in between pitches, but Springer back in the box now, and the 3-1 is hit sharply on the ground to third, but right at Isaac Paredes, throws it over to first, and there are 2 outs.
The thing that I miss the most about Wrigley Field is the bullpens being on the field. I think that's really cool. I think that's an element that they took away. I'm not sure why they took it away. You might know the reason, but it's such a unique thing to see that in today's baseball. All the bullpens are either in the outfield or underground, and
Dalton Varsho hits one foul right where the bullpen used to be down the right field line, 0-1.
And some of my greatest memories in all of baseball were sitting on the field at Wrigley, fans yelling at you, throwing popcorn at you, warming up 2 feet from the people that were sitting in those first rows, and you just don't have it anymore.
I don't know exactly why they did it. I could guess maybe, like a lot of ballparks, they're shrinking foul territory. They're bringing seats closer to the field of play, to home plate. 0-1 to Varsho. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
And again, I sound like an old man.
Oh, it wasn't that long
Why'd
ago.
they do this? Why'd they do that?
2-0 Cubs. 2 outs in the top of the third. Nobody on, and the 0-2 to Varsho. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 3 scoreless frames for Kyle Hendricks. Just picked up his second strikeout. And the Cubs still leading 2-0 as we go to the middle of the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This is Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. We're back with all new episodes of the award-winning podcast, Black Diamonds. This week, I reflect on the life and legacy of Willie Mays, from his days as a teenager in the Negro League.
So today is day 743, day 79, 138. We are going for chemo treatment. Day 203, 248, 312, day 313. Things are looking good. Today was a really great day.
What a powerful message. That says it all right there. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I know a lot of you that have helped are doing what you're doing. Thank you, everybody. Let's make a difference. It really makes a big difference. Thank you.
Baseball. You love talking about baseball. You love yelling at your buddies about baseball because they love baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy football players, learn winning strategies right now on Fantasy Sports Radio to help you draft a winning team on Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app. Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Don't strike out on your next home improvement project. Your team at Timbermart has the great advice and the products you need, so get the job done right. Knock it out of the park and win the day with Timbermart, Canada's building center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue, Show Ali, our host and producer, David Schiss producing, and Tom Young, our technical director. Thank you so much for tuning in today. 2-0 Cubs, bottom of the third inning, and the top of the order coming up for Chicago. The part of the order that burned Yariel Rodriguez in the first, it's Ian Happ leading off, who doubled in that first inning. The pitch home. Outside and low, ball one. Happ, the 8th overall pick by the Cubs in 2015 out of the University of Cincinnati, takes another pitch low, 2-0. U of Cincinnati, a school with a lot of history. Kevin Youkilis went there. Josh Harrison, Sandy Koufax went to the University of Cincinnati. 2-0 pitch upstairs, 3 balls and no strikes. But Happ, the highest drafted Bearcat in the history of Major League Baseball, with the caveat that Koufax was never drafted because the draft didn't exist. 3-0 pitch called a strike, 3-1. Rodriguez into the wind. The 3-1 pitch hits the inside edge. 3-2.
That was a pretty good cut fastball right there from Yariel Rodriguez. You haven't really seen that much today. He's thrown a lot of sinking fastballs, but that one right there, 93 cut in on that inside part of the strike zone.
3-2. Sinking fastball called ball 4, and that got all of the plate. That is a tough break for Rodriguez. It'll be a walk to start the third.
And that is a bad call from Sean Barber, the home plate umpire. That caught all of the strike zone. You could see the frustration on Yariel's face. Alejandro Kirk held that strike there. That is an absurd call that I'm sorry, I'm shocked right now.
So a leadoff walk, and here's the rookie Michael Busch. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, 0-1.
I'm surprised John Schneider or Pete Walker aren't barking from the dugout right now. Might be too early for that, but that was very clearly strike 3.
Yeah, that was a surprising one for sure. And leadoff walks don't typically end well. We'll see what Rodriguez can do here. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Beautiful splitter.
Yeah, that's the one right there. You have to stay on top of that pitch. Don't throw it like a pizza.
Busch was a strikeout victim on a 4-seam fastball in the first. Lone strikeout for Rodriguez so far. Two-strike pitch. Happ takes off. The pitch is low, a ball. Throw down to second. They did not get him. Came in on a bounce. Jimenez got the tag on the back of Happ, but he just beats it out for his 9th stolen base of the year.
Yeah, it looked like Ian Happ got a great jump off of Yariel Rodriguez. Alejandro Kirk really didn't have a chance. Not a great throw, a one-hop throw to Leo Jimenez at second base, but that base right there is stolen off of Yariel Rodriguez.
Kirk also had to reach down. It was a splitter that missed low. Put him in kind of an awkward spot. So Happ on second base with nobody out, and it's starting to look like the first inning again.
Well, Happ should be sitting in the dugout right now.
Probably should. Next pitch, called strike 3. Rodriguez gets one back as that one looked a little bit low on the splitter, but a strikeout of Bush, and there's one out.
I'll take it. I don't know if that was a makeup call, but that one right there was a ball. But Sean Barber rings him up for strike 3 and out number 1.
Another good splitter regardless from Rodriguez, and now he can try and work his way out of the early trouble in the bottom of the 3rd. Still 2-0 Cubs with 1 out and Happ on second. First pitch up and in to Seiya Suzuki, who had a pitch run up and in against him in the 1st inning before he popped out to Ernie Clement at 3rd. Two guys facing off who had some accomplishments in Japan as the 1-0 pitch misses outside. 2-0. Couple years there for Rodriguez. For Suzuki, a very successful career, a 5-time NPB All-Star and a 5-time Gold Glover. 2-0. Called strike on a pitch that looked pretty high. Zone is getting interesting. It's 2-1.
Sean Barber is struggling right now. The home plate umpire, that ball was nowhere near the strike zone, above the strike zone.
It's a 2-1 count, 1 out, and Ian Happ at second. Hurt going to the pitch, calm. Sets up away. 2-1. Outside ball 3. When you look at NPB compared to MLB, how much of a difference or a drop-off is there?
Well, I don't want to say there's a drop-off. I think the skill level is just different. In the U.S., they prioritize power.
3-1 pitch, check swing liner foul.
And I think in NPB, they prioritize getting on base, moving the runner over, scoring 1 run per inning. And in the U.S., in Major League Baseball, they prioritize the big inning. I think that's the major difference.
So it's more of just the NPB plays a style that maybe you saw in Major League Baseball 20 years ago.
Right. And I find that incredibly difficult to navigate a lineup.
3-2. Called strike 3. Suzuki hunching over in dismay. That one looked a little off the plate outside. We mentioned John Schneider maybe being upset earlier. It looks like Craig Counsell is taking issue with some of the calls now.
Yeah, Suzuki is talking to himself, mumbling something under his breath as he slowly walks back to that dugout. But that's 4 or 5 pitches right now from Sean Barber, the home plate umpire, either called a ball or a strike that really aren't close.
To help Rodriguez strike out back-to-back batters, but here's the dangerous Cody Bellinger. Hits it foul off of his own knee, and he's down right now on the dirt. Gets back up. But you're holding your breath right now if you're on the side of the Cubs. Bellinger, a guy who's been on the injured list twice this year.
Yeah, he has. He is wearing that protection on the ankle, on the top of the foot there. But I believe that got him where that protection isn't.
For Bellinger, to a certain extent, that's been the story of his career. When he's been healthy, he's been one of the better guys in baseball, but had some injury issues in LA and didn't look totally right when he got back. Last year, though, was the comeback player of the year in the National League. 0-1. Splitter low.
And you were about to talk about the contract situation for Cody Bellinger.
Yes, so he signed a deal with opt-outs. So he could opt out after this year. It's a 3-year contract with opt-outs after each of the first 2 seasons. 1-1. Hit on the ground, foul again. And it's 1-2.
And he is having a solid season. I think if you're a team that wants a 5th or 6th guy in your lineup, Cody Bellinger is the perfect guy to sign. It just matters about how much he wants. And he is a Boris guy.
He is, and they like free agency. He's on a 3-year, $80 million contract, so about $25 to $27 million over the next couple seasons. Bellinger will ask for time.
I don't think he'll get more than that in free agency.
You would think. I would tend to agree with the year he's having right now. A little bit down from last season. Happ on second, 2-0 Cubs, thanks to Bellinger. The 1-2. Foul tipped No, it's not held on to by Kirk. Bounces off his glove and behind home plate.
Good split finger, though. You could really see the difference between the one where he kind of floats in there and the one where he gets on top. So much more movement, that vertical drop that he gets when he really stays on top of that split finger. Cody Bellinger just getting a piece of that one.
2 strikeouts in the inning for Rodriguez. The 1-2. Curveball hit in the air, center field. Dalton Varsho under the bright sun, onto the warning track, makes the catch, and ends the inning. Yariel Rodriguez strands the controversial leadoff walk and keeps it 2-0 Cubs as we go to the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This is John Paul Morosi. Coming up on the next episode of the SiriusXM podcast, The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins.
First individual I phoned was my dad, and I told him I just got voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was kind of crying.
What's up, baseball fans? Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Toronto Blue Jays trip to the Windy City and Wrigley Field to take on the Cubs. Have you hit that subscribe button yet? Are you an insider? 34,294 are. We appreciate every single one of you here in making this the best Toronto sports community on the internet. Please make sure you are subscribed and turn that bell on so you don't miss it when we go live for any Toronto sports action. Every Blue Jays game the rest of the way, the Toronto Argos matchups, the Buffalo Bills preseason, regular season, and the playoffs. And oh yeah, it's hockey season. Go Leafs, go baby. Hockey season coming up and the Raptors in the fall. See you guys back in the chat. Thanks for being an insider. Go Blue Jays, go.
M Sports, we're more than just a game. The most important person in sports is you, the fan.
Let me tell you something. I'm a real fan.
And your place for sports talk is Mad Dog Sports Radio, where your voice is heard all day long.
I couldn't wait to get into the truck, turn on 82.
Sharing the thrill of victory.
The joy, the jubilation. I can't stop smiling.
And the agony of defeat.
When is this franchise going to realize people really care about this?
Passionate sports fans call 888 Mad Dog 6.
You gotta love sports.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the SiriusXM app.
Our goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's it for us.
Hear every stop of the 2024 training camp tour on NFL Radio Channel 88, the all-new SiriusXM app.
90 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 4th inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. 2-0 Cubs. Blue Jays looking to get something going here with the bats. Only 2 hits to speak of through 3 innings, but they have the right part of the order coming up. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off in the top of the 4th. Guerrero 0 for 1 with a ground out to third. Faces the first pitch from Hendricks and takes it up high, ball 1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Guerrero with 25 homers after homering in back-to-back games in Anaheim. 1-0. Hits it off the end of the bat, foul. Chris, how would you pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. right now?
Ooh. I think if I knew that, I'd be a rich man.
1-1 pitch is hit sharply on the ground to second. Horner has it, and a jump throw over to first. 1 out.
But I think that the most important thing is you have to show in to Vlad. He's one of those guys that loves to get the arms extended. A lot of big power hitters love to get the arms extended, but he's the most interesting thing about Vlad right now, he's not just a power hitter. He's a line drive hitter. He's a singles hitter. He's a doubles hitter. He's an everything hitter. So it's almost like, how do you pitch this guy?
First pitch to Spencer Horwitz. Down and in, ball 1.
I would just go hard in up at the hands, a pitch that he can't hit. He's shown that. Obviously, it's a very, very hard to get the hands through on a fastball up at the hands, and then soft away and see what happens.
1-0 pitch called strike, 1-1.
But he is absolutely absurd right now.
Yep. For Spencer Horwitz, a bit of a milestone today as he's up with 1 out. The 1-1 pitch. Check swing. It was called high. Appeal down to third. And they say he did not go around. It's 2-1. For Horwitz, this is his 58th game of the Major League season. He's now played more games in Major League Baseball than he has in the minors this year. 2-1. Check swing on a pitch down and away, 3-1.
So does that make him a big leaguer?
I think so.
All right. It's always a good day when you can officially be a big leaguer.
Although I'm far from the person who hands out that designation. 3-1 pitch. Called strike, 3-2. When you look at the 57 games overall, what do you take away from Horwitz?
Well, I think the last couple of weeks or so, he's really not been great. I think we can all say that. But before these the struggle over the last couple of weeks.
3-2 pitch sprayed to left field and down just inside the foul line for a base hit. Cut off in left by Happ, and Horwitz will stay at first base with a single.
And I was actually just about to say he hasn't been using the whole field like he was early on in the season when he was having a ton of success. And right there, he takes that fastball from Hendricks and drills it down the left field line using the whole field. And that's going to be his bread and butter if he wants to be a very productive big leaguer. Like I personally think he can be. Use the whole field, take that outside pitch, and drill it to the opposite field.
Horwitz on first, 1 out, 2-0 Cubs, top of the fourth. Alejandro Kirk swings and fouls back a fastball, 0-1.
And maybe that at-bat right there will get him back on track.
Kirk's really been rolling along recently. If you go back to July 1st, he's hit .291 since then. Second best among Blue Jays with 100 plate appearances. Only Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has hit for a higher average in that time. Kirk just missed a fastball there, fouled it right back into the brick backstop, 0-2.
And I think that the thing that I've seen from Alejandro is a lot like Spencer Horwitz. Obviously not as good, but a lot like Spencer Horwitz, where he's starting to use the whole field as well. And I think that's why he's getting so many more hits. And like you said, hitting .291 since
Canada Day. Takes a breaking ball down and away.
I'll take that all day long.
That has Kirk hitting 5th today. Horwitz on first with 1 out. Will Wagner, the number 6 hitter in the lineup, waiting on deck. 1-2. Bouncing ball back to the mound. Hendricks has it, throws to second for 1. No, it gets away from Horner, and everybody is safe. The throw was low and almost banked off the base. It pops out of Horner's glove. Horwitz safe at second, and Kirk safe at first on a fielder's choice and an error.
Yeah, that's definitely Hendricks' fault with that bad throw to second base. That was a shoe-top throw. But if you're Nico Horner, you have to secure that baseball. Actually, it hit the base watching that slow motion replay, so that is not Nico Horner's fault. But as that second baseman or as that shortstop, you have to get the sure out. You have to worry about catching the baseball, getting the out, and then throwing to first base. And Nico Horner didn't do that right there.
Hendricks, though, tapped his chest after the throw. It's an error on the pitcher. And Will Wagner comes up and takes ball 1 outside.
Yeah, that's just a bad throw from Hendricks.
This is what you want right now. Runners on base and Will Wagner at the plate, who singled in the second inning, is 6 for 9 as a Blue Jay. 1-0. Takes a strike at the top of the zone, 1-1. Wagner with a rope up the middle in the second inning. Got a 3-2 changeup and lined it up the middle. Swings at the 1-1 and bounces it back to the pitcher. Hendricks to second for 1, and Horner dropped it on the transfer. The out is recorded at second, but another missed opportunity for the Cubs, and it's runners on the corners with 2 outs.
Yeah, you don't really see that very often, especially from Dansby Swanson. An easy double play right there on Will Wagner. Hendricks this time makes the perfect throw to Dansby Swanson, and on the transfer, he just bobbles it. Drops that baseball. Probably good that he didn't try to throw it, though. Could have been an errant throw, and then that run from third base would have scored.
And perhaps that is part of what happened. Swanson maybe tried to stop his arm, dropped it. But the shortstop for the Cubs, he's a 2-time Gold Glover. Now Ernie Clement takes strike 1 with Horwitz on third and Wagner on first. 2 outs and a 2-0 Cubs lead, top of the fourth. Clement 1 for 1. He singled in the second inning, just like Wagner did. 0-1. Swing and a soft roller, charging in at short. A bare hand by Swanson, and the throw to first way offline, and it skips out of play. In to score Horwitz. Wagner gets all the way to third. Clement at second as the Cubs are kicking it all over the place in the top of the fourth.
Well, this looks like the Chicago Cubs of 2010, not the Chicago Cubs of recent. That was a weird play from Dansby Swanson. I think Ernie Clement would have been safe at first base even if he made a good throw there. But again, he didn't really have a good grip on that baseball. And he threw that thing in between home plate and first base, nowhere near first base.
He hit the former Gold Glove first baseman Don Mattingly in the chest with that one as it bounced into the Blue Jays dugout. And that's going to draw the pitching coach, Tommy Hotovy, out to the mound to talk to Kyle Hendricks, who, he had an error, but really since then has been a little bit let down by the defense behind him. You mentioned with Clement that he probably gets there anyway. They rule it a single for Ernie Clement, but he gets to second base on the error. Will Wagner up to third base on the error by Swanson. 2 errors in the inning for the Cubs. Joey Loperfido up. It's now 2-1 Cubs. 2 outs in the top of the fourth. Loperfido swings at the first pitch and drives it foul down the left field line.
This is a big at-bat for Loperfido. Runners on second and third now, down 2-1. You could easily get 2 RBIs here. Let's see what the kid can do.
Loperfido broke in 0 for 24 with a single on Wednesday. That high above his left shoulder, the 0-1. Takes it outside.
Do you agree with that base hit?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Clement's one of the fastest Blue Jays, and that one was hit really soft to short. One pitch outside, 2-1. You just don't see this all the time from the Cubs, though. They have 4 Gold Glovers in the field today. Swanson at short, Horner at second, Happ in left, and Bellinger in right. 2-1. Loperfido hits it on the ground, and it's speared at second by Horner. He makes the throw over to first and ends the inning. Blue Jays get a run on 2 hits, benefit from 2 errors, leave 2 on, and it's a 2-1 Cubs lead, middle of the fourth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate with over...
Cheers, Insiders. I just wanted to take a second to say thank you so much for hanging out with us all the time for these Blue Jays games and helping us continue to grow this amazing Toronto sports community. We are doing big things with our SickKids hospital donation. A portion of our revenue from every single game goes to SickKids in donation. As well, we are up to $200. So thank you for the help so far. We are at a goal of 1,000. We've got some work to do. Please, anything that you can is a huge help to these kids at SickKids Hospital. They've touched my life, and I'm sure they've touched a lot of your lives as well. So please, go SickKids, go. Click that link, and we'll see you back in the chat. Thank you. Let's make a real world difference together. Cheers, everybody.
For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Roddy rocks the ball to left field. The Blue Jays have gone back-to-back.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Bottom of the fourth inning, and the Blue Jays are on the board. Scored in the top of the fourth to make it 2-1. Yariel Rodriguez back on the mound. Cubs still leading as Isaac Paredes leads it off for the Cubs. Kind of a weird top of the fourth, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see 3 errant plays like that in one inning very often. And the Cubs, you could actually hear it in the crowd noise. When Dansby Swanson threw that last throw to Don Mattingly in the Blue Jays dugout, like you said, the crowd literally was like, again?
Isaac Paredes takes down an away ball 1. There were 2 errors and a dropped transfer on a potential double play that didn't go down as an error. 1-0 pitch, check swing from Paredes, 2-0. Isaac Paredes, a pretty big ad for the Cubs around the deadline, and the Cubs are really on the fringes of playoff contention. 2-0. Slider for a strike.
Yeah, Paredes hasn't been great, though, with the Cubs. 176, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, but earlier on in this ballgame, he's made 2 great defensive plays.
The 2-1. Swing and a miss at the slider, 2-2. And he was one of the top power threats on the Rays for the last couple years. But the Cubs sent Christopher Morel off the Major League roster and a pair of prospects to the Rays. But this isn't just a buy for this year. Paredes is under team control for a couple years after this. Hesitation and a 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 straight sliders, and he gets Paredes swinging, 1 out.
That last one was a good one. Started on the edge of the plate outside and then broke off the plate. Isaac Paredes swings at it wildly, but that's another pitch that he's going to have to utilize if he wants to have success and go 5-6 innings each start.
This is second time through the order for Rodriguez. His pitch to Nico Horner, called strike. Horner's a career Cub, 24th overall pick in 2018. 0-1 curve drops in, 0-2. After Horner hits, we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, although this is the only game in action right now. The wind and the 0-2 pitch. Low ball 1.
Little right-on-right splitter there. Maybe he was listening to the pregame show. Me saying he should use that splitter a little bit more. That was a pretty good pitch.
You like it to the righties in addition to the lefties?
I just love the split finger in general. If you throw that thing to the bottom of the strike zone, it's almost an unhittable pitch.
New baseball as that splitter bounced. Rodriguez over 60 pitches with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. 2-1 Cubs, and the base is empty. Righties 1-2. Fastball chopped back in front of the mound, third base side. Barehanded by Rodriguez. Missile over to first to get the runner, 2 down.
That was his hardest fastball of the day, 97 miles an hour. Pretty good pitch up at the hands. Makes that barehanded play. A little bit too hard to first base. I'm sure Vlad is like, hey, man, let's not throw it so hard next time.
That was 85 over to first, which is pretty hard for an infield throw.
Yeah.
2 outs and Dansby Swanson up. Walked back in the second. First pitch high, ball 1. Pretty cool week for the Swanson family. It's been covered a little bit, but if you didn't know, Dansby Swanson's wife, Mallory, formerly Mallory Pugh, now Mallory Swanson, plays for the U.S. women's national soccer team. Swanson takes inside 2-0, and she scored the decisive goal in the gold medal game for the United States to take home the gold medal.
It's not really a very athletic family.
I know. 2-0. Called strike. But it's a tough competition for who's the most decorated athlete in the family. Mallory's made 100 appearances for the U.S. women's national team. 2-1 pitch is hit on the ground to third. Chest high stab for Clement, who shuffles his feet and throws to first to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Yariel Rodriguez sends the Blue Jays back to the bats. 5th inning is next. It's 2-1 Cubs. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Take your love of 80s music to the max.
For sure. Like, totally.
With new wave and 80s alternative on First Wave, Channel 33. Feel the noise of spandex, big hair, and big riffs on Hair Nation Channel 39.
Come on, feel the noise.
Or bounce to hip-hop classics on LL Cool J's
Rock the Bells Radio.
Channel 43. Listen to all of these and more across SiriusXM and on the SiriusXM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
While you're listening to this game on SiriusXM, we're talking about the latest odds and prop bets for this and every game on Sports Grid Radio.
The under's minus 125. Heavy juice to the under.
Every home run hit and every strikeout thrown can change the line.
I can't for the life of me figure out how you can favor a team that never wins, ever.
If you're looking for sports talk centered around the latest odds and prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event, Sports Grid Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 159.
Fantasy football players, learn winning strategies right now on Fantasy Sports Radio to help you draft a winning team on Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
And the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The fifth inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins awarded another 150 grants worth $20,000 each to entrepreneurs across Canada. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz at goodsparkgrants.ca.
Thank you very much, Chris. Top of the fifth inning coming up. 2-1 Cubs over Blue Jays at Wrigley Field. Blue Jays batting with 9-1-2 coming up this inning. Leo Jimenez, George Springer, and Dalton Varsho. Still the veteran righty Kyle Hendricks on the mound, who's allowed just one unearned run so far in this game. Pitch to Jimenez is a check swing liner foul, 0-1. This inning we'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar & Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Rib Sanity is now on until September 8th. All-you-can-eat ribs for just $27.99. Visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. Next pitch misses down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. One pitch down and away. 2-1. While there isn't a lot going on right now in baseball, no other games in action, there is some news around the Cubs world. 2-1 pitch is hit high and very deep. Left center field. That ball's out of here. Home run, Leo Jimenez, his second of his major league career, and the Blue Jays have tied it up at 2.
Well, it sounds like there's actually a decent amount of Blue Jays fans in Chicago. Leo Jimenez is turning into a power hitter all of a sudden. Like you said, his second career home run. And he golfed that thing out of here.
That was no excuse me blast as he puts the home run jacket on. 424 feet. And it's a new ball game here with no outs in the top of the fifth. The pitch to George Springer. Hit on the ground foul, 0-1. Was going to mention the news around the baseball world and the St. Louis Bar & Grill out-of-town scoreboard concerns Cubs Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. As Springer hits it on the ground past the mound, Horner picks it up at second, throw to first, 1 out. Yesterday, Sandberg finished his final cancer treatment and was out of hospital, which is great news for, of course, a great player, but also just great news personally for Sandberg. All of our out-of-town scores and news brought to you by St. Louis Bar & Grill. 2-2 in Chicago. 1 out, and the pitch to Dalton Varsho. Lined foul to left field. 0-1. Varsho on base in 14 straight games. 0-1. Takes a pitch up high. And you mentioned early the selectivity is what stands out for you.
Yeah, it's pretty evident that that's the thing that's kind of moving this little surge of Dalton Varsho. I think that last pitch right there from Hendricks, that fastball at the top of the zone, we actually talked about this before the season even started. That's the pitch that he has to lay off of.
1-1. Swings and pops a fastball up. Third base side. In foul territory, Paredes makes the catch. 2 outs.
But he hasn't really been swinging at that pitch. He hasn't been swinging at the fastball up at the hands. And, I mean, he's been pretty productive over the last couple of weeks.
2 outs now. Hendricks about to throw his 80th pitch of the start. Nobody on in the top of the 5th in a 2-2 game after the leadoff home run this inning by Leo Jimenez. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s up. Here's the pitch. Called strike, 0-1. Guerrero has 12 homers and 26 RBIs in his last 26 games. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Fooled by the changeup low. It's 0-2. The wind from Hendricks and the 2-strike pitch. Bounce softly to third base, charging in Paredes, gloves, throws over to first, and he got him. Guerrero didn't think so, had his arms out like he was safe. But it looks like that will be the inning. We'll give a sec for the Blue Jays to take a look. The Cubs are starting to head off the field. And that is going to be the top of the 5th inning. Blue Jays tie it up on a solo home run by Leo Jimenez. 2-2, middle of the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Feel the thrill of the Premier League on Sirius XM FC.
Arsenal running riot. A quick fire double from Chelsea.
Hear every pulse-pounding moment.
Haaland scores the hat-trick. Brilliant left-foot strike by Salah. What a goal by Marcus Rashford.
From the world's most exciting league.
Absolutely glorious from Tottenham Hotspur.
Manchester United turn it round.
All on your radio home for the beautiful game.
If you like soccer, you are in the right place.
The Premier League lives on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The golf season is in full swing.
Through the hole, could go, and it did! It did! There it is for Scotty Scheffler.
SiriusXM is your home for all the action from the PGA Tour.
Rory holds the follow-through. This has a chance to go in. A hole-in-one. Yes! Rory McIlroy with an ace!
Hear the entire FedEx Cup playoffs, culminating with the Tour Championship on...
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Blue Jays game. Just a reminder, tomorrow, Saturday evening, we've got the Bills going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A little bit of primetime action since week 1 of the preseason when the Bills got smacked by the Chicago Bears. That was a day game. We've got a night game coming up on Saturday. I hope you will join us. Please make sure that bell is turned on so you see when we go live for any of our Toronto sports action or Buffalo Bills action. Anyways, Bills got to turn it around. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Hope you'll join us. See you then.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Bottom of the 5th inning at Wrigley Field, 2-2 game. Blue Jays and Cubs. Yariel Rodriguez really settling in after the 2-run first inning, has pitched 3 scoreless frames, and he's retired 6 in a row as we go to the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, he's starting to really figure things out. You see a lot of his pitches are down in the zone, and then when he comes up out of the strike zone, it's almost on purpose, and that's when Yariel is really at his best.
Right on left, he delivers to Pete Crow Armstrong, who shows bunt and pulls it back. 1-0. You have to be wary of the speed of PCA. Pete Crow Armstrong is 23 for 23 stealing bases this year. 1-0. Swings and lifts a ball to shallow right, foul territory. Guerrero going back, fighting against the tarp. but that one's over the netting into the seats.
Yeah, when you see 23 for 23, that just tells me that he's not only a speedster, but he's also a very smart base runner, a lot like George Springer, who is 13 for 13.
He is,
I believe, without looking.
Well, he's got good help, Pete Crow Armstrong. When he goes down to first base, former catcher Mike Napoli is the first base coach for the Cubs, talking to him, trying to give him reads. 1-1. Called strike with the heater, 1-2.
And you have to look at the pitch count, too, of Yariel Rodriguez. Like we talked about earlier, he's about probably 80 to 85 pitches is his max. He's getting there.
1-2 pitch down and away. That was his 71st offering of the game. Blue Jays do have a rested bullpen after the off day. Here's the 2-2. Upstairs, ball 3.
But the Blue Jays do have 18 games in a row. You have to be worried about that.
Full count to start the bottom of the 5th. Miguel Amaya's on deck. 3-2 to Pete Crow Armstrong. Hit well. Right center field. Varsho racing back, looking for the ivy. That one's over the wall. Home run. Pete Crow Armstrong, and the Cubs take the lead back.
And that ball was absolutely crushed by Pete Crow Armstrong. It was a little slider that didn't really do much, right over the middle of the plate. 103 miles an hour off the bat. And I can guarantee that Yariel wants that pitch back. Not really where he wanted that pitch. He wanted that thing down, and he left it middle.
5th home run of the season for Crow Armstrong, and for Rodriguez, his first runs allowed since the first inning. 3-2 Cubs. Bases empty, nobody out. And the pitch to the 9-hitter, Miguel Amaya. Up and in, ball 1. Amaya, a 2015 signing of the Cubs out of Panama. 1-0. Check swing on a high fastball, appeal to first, and he did not go around. It's 2-0. Nobody up yet in the Blue Jays bullpen, but some stretching going on. 2-0 pitch is cut on and missed. Another hanging slider there, 2-1.
I wonder when we'll see Nate Pearson in this series.
And that's out of the Cubs bullpen, as the Blue Jays traded Pearson to the Cubs just before the deadline. 2-1. Hit in the air, left center field and deep, and it's back-to-back home runs for the bottom of the Cubs order. Miguel Amaya goes deep. It's 4-2 Chicago.
Well, that was a 2-1 fastball. Another middle pitch, and Amaya did not miss it. 106 miles an hour off the bat over that fence in left field, but that's what happens when you fall behind. That was a 2-1 fastball right down the middle.
Amaya hitting it 426 feet out to left center field. Blue Jays had just tied it up on a Leo Jimenez home run, but a pair of Cubs blasts has brought Chicago back to a 2-run lead. That's all before the top of the order comes up. Ian Happ is about to hit for the Cubs. A quick meeting on the mound for the Blue Jays, and action now in the Toronto pen. Tommy Nance is getting loose.
I actually liked what I saw from Tommy Nance the other day when he pitched in L.A. Good hard fastball, good breaking ball. And he's getting into some higher leverage situations, too.
There's opportunity to rise up the ladder in the Blue Jays bullpen right now. Starter Rodriguez still on, though. His pitch to Ian Happ. Fastball for strike 1. You had mentioned off the top, Rodriguez reached a career-high 85 pitches in his last start. Do you think that sometimes that could feed into the next start, as the 0-1 is hit foul, 0-2?
You mean in terms of
wear and tear, fatigue?
I mean, especially for a guy like him who hasn't been a starter his whole career. He's been a bullpen guy, kind of back and forth. But so I guess the answer to that would be yes. I tend to agree.
0-2 pitch bounced in front of the plate.
But I think he's looked fine today. We've seen a fastball up to 97. We've seen a lot of good pitches. He's only made 3 or 4 bad pitches today. I think other than the back-to-back home runs that he left over the middle, he's been pretty solid.
1-2 pitch upstairs, 2-2. So for you, it's more about just missing location in some big spots where the Cubs capitalized?
Yeah. I think it's I mean, especially today, that Cody Bellinger home run was down the middle, and then the back-to-back homers today, he's just missing middle.
2-2 pitch to Happ is popped up back of third. Clement into left field, called off by Loper Fido, who makes the catch, 1 out.
This injury report is brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Pereira will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca.
Not a ton coming down today, but the Associated Press reporting that Bo Bichette has resumed baseball activity but isn't running yet. Swing and a miss from Michael Busch, 0-1. Bichette dealing with those back-to-back calf injuries, trying to get back.
And there's really no need for the Blue Jays to rush him back.
0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. 4-2 Cubs, 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Base is empty. Where do you look? You know, there's a debate over whether Bo Bichette should come back. Where do you fall?
There's still a lot of time left in this season, and like everybody knows in the Blue Jays camp, they're 9 games back. They're not mathematically out of it. Realistically, probably out of it, but mathematically, they're not.
0-2 splitter, hit on the ground to first. Guerrero waves off Rodriguez, steps on the bag, 2 down.
So do you want Bo Bichette in your lineup with the quote-unquote potential of playing October baseball? Of course. But realistically, I think that he should take his time. Obviously, he isn't having an incredible season, so that I think you should factor that in. Where he's at mentally, where his swing is at, obviously where the calf is at, but there's no world where he should be rushed back.
2 down, and here's Seiya Suzuki DHing today. First pitch is cut on and missed, strike 1.
Do you want to see him back?
I think if he's completely healthy and there's never no risk of re-injury, but limited risk, then sure. But like you said, there's no reason to rush Bo Bichette onto the field. 0-1 pitch is called. A strike looked a little high. It's 0-2.
And Leo Jimenez is playing pretty good shortstop. He's swinging the bat relatively well. 2 homers in the last 4 games. 4 games. Had a homer and a double in L.A.
2 out, space is empty. The 2-strike pitch. Called strike 3 with a splitter. 2 homers allowed in the inning, and the Cubs take the lead back. Rodriguez finishes it off with a strikeout, but it's 4-2 Chicago as we go to the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or 7th-inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big,
On this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb.
Behold, the mightiest assembly ever witnessed. We are all gathered in the darkness. Together we can be the light. I call upon every crew. We need you all to join our fight for a new SickKids, and we need you now. Who's with us? Who is with us?
Are you
of small biz? That's why they awarded another $3 million to small business owners across the country. See how days are cheered on small biz this year at goodsparkgrants.ca. 4-2 Cubs as we enter the sixth. 2 homers for Chicago in the bottom of the 5th inning have given Chicago the lead back. And now a new pitcher for the Cubs. Drew Smyly enters the game for Chicago. The start of Kyle Hendricks is over.
Yeah, Kyle Hendricks looked pretty good. I mean, for the majority of the season, he hasn't been great. But in his last start against Minnesota, he gave up 2 runs in 6 innings. And then today against the Blue Jays, he was pretty good as well.
We'll get to his line in a moment, but first, the 36th appearance of the year for Smyly goes left on left with Spencer Horwitz and delivers strike 1. Smyly with a 2.83 ERA. Full-time reliever now for a long time, was a starter in the majors. This is his 11th season. 0-1. Swing and a miss, 94 with the fastball, 0-2.
Yeah, 179 career games started. That's a ton of games.
And over 300 games pitched in his career. Was a full-time reliever in 2013 with Detroit. Other than that, if he's been healthy, he's made at least 20 starts pretty much in every season. 0-2. Horwitz pops it up foul, out of play, third base side. The line, though, for Hendricks, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. Smyly's 0-2 again. Bounce the breaking ball in. It's pretty much a 2-pitch mix for Drew Smyly. 4-seamer and knuckle curveball, occasional cutter. Swing and a miss at his 1-2 fastball, and Horwitz strikes out for the first out of the 6th.
Yeah, some decent velo, though, from Smyly. That fastball right there, 94. You'll generally see that fastball sit 93 to 95. But he just blows that 94-mile-an-hour fastball by Spencer Horwitz for strike 3.
So 1 out in the pitch to Alejandro Kirk. Foul back, 0-1. Over on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, Yankees are in Detroit today. Garrett Cole faces off with Bo Brisky at 6:40 Eastern at Comerica Park. 0-1 to Kirk, hit foul again, 0-2. Rays will host the Diamondbacks at 6:50 Eastern. Ryan Pepio for the Rays, Ryan Nelson for the D-backs, and the Red Sox and Orioles face off at 7:05 at Camden Yards. Brennan Bernardino faces off with Cy Young hopeful Corbin Burns. So a look at the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. 4-2 Cubs at Wrigley. 1 out in the 0-2 to Kirk. Again, foul off the end of the bat. Smyly's had Kirk off balance this whole at bat.
Yeah, that was a pretty good knuckle curve just off the plate outside. Alejandro does a good job just fouling it off, staying alive, but I'll probably see something out of the zone here. That curveball right there caught a little bit too much of the plate.
2-strike pitch. A curveball that was away, but Kirk again reaches out to fight it off, but maybe a little bit higher than you'd want it.
Yeah, if you're ahead in the count 0-2, you don't really want to throw something thigh high because that's a hittable pitch. You want something above the letters or below that strike zone. I would imagine he would do that here.
Another 0-2. And he bounces the curveball in, but Kirk swings and misses over top of it. Throw down to first from Amaya to Bush is there in time to complete the strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Smyly. 2 outs in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, that's probably where he wanted that first curveball, although he left it about thigh-high outside. But that one right there is pretty good. That knuckle curve and then that mid-90s fastball, pretty lethal out of the bullpen.
So 2 outs and the base is empty. And Will Wagner up at the plate, swings and fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. 4-2 Cubs, top of the 6th. Third time Wagner's come up today. Lefty hitters 1 for 2, singled in the second, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th. 0-1. Takes at the top of the zone, strike 2. With Wagner's hit back in the second inning, he becomes the 7th Blue Jay ever to have 6 or more hits in their first 3 games. 0-2. Fouled back. The list is Davis Schneider, Bo Bichette, Rowdy Tellez, Aaron Hill, Lloyd Mosby, Danny Ainge, and now Will Wagner. 0-2 pitch. Bounce to the plate, 1-2.
I guess the only surprising name on that list would be Rowdy Tellez.
Danny Ainge throws you for a look. I mean, you just think about him in basketball.
I don't know, but I've heard his name so often over the last 4 days that he's almost like a Hall of Famer to me now.
Rowdy Tellez, though, hot to start his career. Very hot. 1-2. Check swing on a pitch in the dirt. Did he go? He did, said third base umpire Alan Porter on appeal. Tag applied by Amaya, and Drew Smiley strikes out the side, all swinging in the 6th to keep the Cubs on top. 4-2 Chicago as we go to the bottom of the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Dive into a summer of rhythms.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Toronto Blue Jays matchup against the Chicago Cubs. It's a little bit of interleague action. Both teams struggling this season, trying to make their way to the 500 mark and possibly a playoff push for the Cubs, but probably not for our Jays. Appreciate you being here. Smash that like button down below. Please take a minute, make sure that like button is hit so that we can get more Blue Jays fans and Cubs fans here in the chat with us, hanging out, tearing it up. Now let's go Blue Jays. Let's have some fun today, and don't forget about our SickKids Summer Rally that we're running right now. Check that link in the description, and we'll see you guys in the chat. Any little bit helps. Go Jays, go.
On Sirius XM. Touchdown! Hear every stop of the 2024 training camp tour on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
This is Dave LaGreca, creator of the biggest pro wrestling show on the planet, Busted Open. Don't miss myself and my Hall of Fame cast and crew as we break down every story in and out of the ring and talk to the top names in the business, like the legend himself, The Undertaker.
I'm actually glad to be on a real show.
Catch Busted Open live every day from 9 to noon Eastern on Sirius XM Fight Nation, channel 156, and on the Sirius XM app.
Hey everyone, it's Justin Turbin at your 24/7 home for hoops all year long is Sirius XM NBA Radio Channel 86 and the Sirius XM app. Just search NBA Radio.
590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue, Show Ali, our host and producer, David Siss producing, and Tom Young, our technical director. 4-2 Cubs over Blue Jays, bottom of the 6th inning at Wrigley Field. Cody Bellinger leads off against new Blue Jays pitcher Tommy Nance.
Well, I was wrong with the expected pitch count. Yariel Rodriguez ended up throwing 88 pitches. I was close, though.
Pretty close. I think you take that. So a new career high for Yariel Rodriguez, but the long ball hurt him today. 3 home runs allowed for the 4 runs, and Bellinger hit a 2-run shot in the first. Nance, the 6'6" righty, kicks and delivers home, and the fastball is hit in the air. Left field, hangs up for Loperfido, who's under it to make the catch. 1 out. For Tommy Nance, his 4th appearance in a Blue Jays uniform, 1 earned run in 3 1/3. What have you thought overall of Nance?
I thought he's looked great. I know that he doesn't have much time in the big leagues, only 75 and 2/3 innings, but like you said, he's 6'6", 240 pounds. He's a big guy out there, intimidating, has that mid-90s fastball with a ton of run, and then he has a pretty good breaking ball as well.
His pitch to Isaac Paredes outside ball 1.
But also, like you said, there is a ton of opportunity out there in this Blue Jays bullpen. If somebody gives you a couple of clean innings, John Schneider will likely run that person back out there.
Next pitch to Nance, or pardon me, to Paredes from Nance, is called a strike 1-1.
And then eventually the leash keeps getting longer and longer and longer. Then Tommy Nance could potentially fit into next year's plans. You never know.
And John Schneider told me when they picked up Nance, it coincided with Genesis Cabrera going on the paternity list. But this was a move they were thinking of making anyway. It was not just to fill the hole of Cabrera. 1-1. Hit on the ground to short. Backs up Jimenez, who has it, and delivers a strong throw to first. 2 down. I think the Blue Jays proved that when Cabrera came back and they kept Nance with the Major League team. With 2 outs and the Cubs up 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th, let's go to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, where there was some pretty big news today from Yankee land. Former Blue Jay reliever Tim Meza had his contract selected by the Yankees today out of their minor league system, and he will be dressing for the Yankees tonight in their game against the Tigers. You can catch that on Sportsnet at 6:30. Meeting on the mound right now, Kirk going out to talk to Nance before Nico Horner hits. But for a long time and a very successful Blue Jay for the majority of his career, I at least personally think it's great to see Meza making it back up to the majors this year.
Yeah, and if you look at his numbers in Scranton, which is the Yankees AAA team, he had a 2.16 ERA in 9 games, 8 1/3 innings. Why not? Right? I'm sure the Yankees bullpen could use it, and Tim Meza has shown that he is a serviceable big leaguer for the majority of the time.
Tommy Nance's pitch to Nico Horner. Fastball for strike 1.
But it is weird seeing him with that Yankees hat on. I'm just looking at a photo of him online.
Oh, boy. 0-1 to Horner is a breaking ball hit foul, 0-2. Our town scores and updates again brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. 4-2 Cubs over Blue Jays. 2 strikes on Nico Horner. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Base is empty. Nance is 0-2. Breaking ball hit down the left field line. Fair ball bouncing off the netting and rolling into the corner. Lo Perfido picks it up. It'll be a 2-out double for Nico Horner.
That was just a bad 0-2 pitch right there from Tommy Nance. I bet he wants that pitch back. A hanging breaking ball, almost a backup breaking ball in the inside part of the plate. You can see Alejandro Kirk wants that thing down below the strike zone, and he just left it about thigh high. Nico Horner drills that thing inside the third baseline for a double.
Almost smoked Alan Porter, the third base ump, who casually skipped out of the fair. Now a chance for the Cubs to add on. Runner on second, Dansby Swanson up. Nance with a peek back at second and a fastball delivered home. That's hit in the air to right field. Slicing and foul. 0-1. Swanson's 0 for 1 with a walk today in the second and a ground out to third in the 4th. A 1. Inside with the heater this time. 1 ball and 1 strike. Blue Jays have Brendan Little getting loose right now. Also a right-hander getting warm in the Cubs pen. A look at second and the pitch home. No, it's going to be the inside move rather to second base to look back Horner. Nance back on the hill, the 1-1. Breaking ball hits the outside edge. That was the slider, the sharper of his 2 breaking pitches. It's 1-2.
Yeah, he doesn't throw that thing very often, but when he does, it's pretty good. It's almost like a cutter, just like you said, little slider cutter, little darting action.
88 on that last one. Here's 1-2. Fastball hit back up the middle and bobbled at second by Wagner. Rifles to first, not in time. Tough play as Wagner was working away from first and going over the bag. Looked like it hit the palm of his glove and popped out, and Swanson legged it out. Horner up to third.
Yeah, that's Will Wagner's first miscue defensively. A tough play. He had to deal with the second base bag. Stays with it though, picks the ball up, throws a strike to first base, but not in time to get Dansby Swanson.
They will rule it an error on Wagner. And that extends the inning here and has runners on the corners now for the Cubs with 2 outs. Horner at third, Swanson at first, Pete Crow Armstrong at the plate, who homered last inning. Nance's pitch. Outside, ball 1. When you're a pitcher and there's a 2-out error, is that something that you have to work to overcome mentally?
No, because then after that, you're not giving up any earned runs. Come on, man. You know that.
Well, just, I mean, being out there still
of course,
throwing pitches.
Of course.
And the team element of it
Of course.
Well.
I mean, you obviously don't want to give up earned runs. That was a little bit of a joke.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is just throwing more pitches.
1-0 pitch outside, 2-0.
Especially for a guy like Tommy Nance, who is obviously building that trust of John Schneider with Pete Walker. You want to have quick innings. You want to be out there for as short as possible.
2-0. Swanson takes off from first. It's outside a ball, and the throw goes to third base from Kirk. But Horner got back to the bag standing. So Swanson swipes second, and now a 3-0 count to PCA. First base is open right now with 2 outs. And they're just going to walk Pete Crow Armstrong rather than throw him a 3-0 pitch and risk danger.
Yeah, I was actually thinking to myself they should walk him. Maybe not intentionally walk him like they did, but, pitch around him as Pete Walker comes out to talk to Tommy Nance. But I think in that situation, when you're thinking about either intentionally walking or pitching around, you have a big run at third base. So maybe pitching around is not the right thing to do because you could potentially throw a wild pitch. That run comes in to score anyways. So I think this is the right play here.
Walker talking to Nance now on the subject of the 2-out errors. What kinds of things would you tell yourself to try and get those thoughts of, oh, I got to throw more pitches out of your head?
I think the hardest thing is in this specifically in this situation, there's runners on first and third, and when there's a runner on first, a big run on first, you tend to speed things up, especially for a guy like Tommy Nance, who again is new to this team. I'm sure, I don't know if he's pitched at Wrigley before, but that adds another layer of stress.
His pitch to Miguel Amaya is a slider for strike 1. Good start to this battle with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
But I think the biggest thing is just to refocus, throw strike 1, but then you also have to remind yourself that no more Ernies.
0-1. Another slider, and it's popped up. Playable for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Walks into foul territory and makes the catch to end the inning. So no harm done on the 2-out error. A hit, an error, a walk, 3 left on. Still 4-2 Cubs as we go to the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
If you're looking for a fun day, did you know the day before Monday? Junior J Sunday. You can paint your face, come and meet Ace and run base to base. On Junior J Sunday. So many things to do. You can bring your crew and even mom and dad too. Junior J Sunday.
Sundays are for Junior Jays. Get to the ballpark early to enjoy outdoor activities before continuing the fun inside while you cheer on the Blue Jays.
You're feeling the song.
What's up, insiders? How's it going? Jays are struggling a little bit, down 4-2 here at the end of the 6th inning, but let's go Blue Jays. Ernie Clement, Loperfido, and Jimenez due up for the Jays. Mulberry Miles, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Kevin, thank you for the like again. Andy in England, yes, I love soccer. I am a diehard TFC fan, Inter Milan fan, and this actually all started by a soccer channel, but now it's TSI is just crazy. This community has been absolutely insane. So thank you all for being here. Please hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and become an insider like the rest of us. And just want to make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss any of our games when we come up. We've got the Bills coming up, and we've got the fall with the Raptors and the Leafs. Going to be a lot of fun. Also, look out for some content coming up with some new partners here that I've been working with. Might have a little video coming your way about this series with a local Chicago guy. So we'll see you guys back in the chat. Cheers, everybody. Go Jays, go. Let's pull off that comeback.
I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Top of the 7th inning, and the Cubs leading the Blue Jays in this series opener 4-2. Thank you so much for tuning in for this Friday day game. New pitcher into the ball game for the Cubs is the veteran Jorge Lopez. He'll face off with Ernie Clement, Joey Loperfido, and Leo Jimenez in this top of the 7th.
Yeah, Lopez having a pretty good season in 45 games, 2.35 ERA, 46 innings pitched, just 37 strikeouts, but he's a guy that the Cubs have relied on in these late inning games.
Righty's pitch to Ernie Clement, misses upstairs, 1-0. Lopez was acquired by the Cubs mid-season, started his year with the Mets. 1-0. Swing and a miss at 96, 1-1. Righty's a former closer, closed with the Orioles and made the All-Star game as the closer for the Orioles in 2022. 1-1. Fastball at the knees, strike 2.
If you look at his numbers specifically just with the Cubs, he's only given up 1 earned run in 19 2/3 innings. That's pretty impressive.
It was kind of a unique situation that presented him to the Cubs. 1-2 pitch. Slider on the outside corner, strike 3. Strikes out Ernie Clement, and the relief pitching for the Cubs so far has struck out all 4 batters they've faced.
Yeah, that might not have been a strike. Ernie Clement didn't like that call. Makes a quick comment to home plate umpire Sean Barber, but looking at the replay, might have caught the edge there.
Lopez's pitch to Joey Loperfido. Hit on the ground to second, picked up by Horner, throw to first. 2 outs.
I want to hear more about how Lopez got to Chicago.
Yeah, so it was a unique situation. He comes into the year on a 1-year deal with the Mets for a decent piece of change, and there was a bit of an incident May 29th. He has a tough game. Mets were really sliding at that point, and after being ejected from the game, he threw his glove into the crowd, which was frowned upon by the Mets publicly. His pitch to Leo Jimenez, inside ball 1. And then there's a weird situation that I don't want to have too much of an opinion on because there's still questions over whether it was misinterpreted or not. But some mention of either I'm the worst teammate on a bad team or the worst team, as a swing and a miss comes there from Jimenez, 1-1. And Lopez did come back to say that he was trying to comment on himself and not comment on the Mets as a whole, and maybe some frustration there. But the Mets DFA'd him. They let him go, released him. 1-1 pitch fouled back, 1-2. And so the Cubs picked up a pretty effective reliever on a minor league deal on June 11th. And about 2 weeks later, called him up to the majors, and he's been one of their best.
Yeah, he's been absolutely lights out. But he wasn't great with the Mets. He almost had a 4 ERA, so them letting him go probably wasn't the toughest thing to do.
1-2 pitch, called, strike 3. Freezes Jimenez on a slider. 5 strikeouts for Cubs relief pitching in the last 6 batters faced in the Blue Jays. Still trail 4-2 at the 7th inning stretch. Stephen Colbert getting ready to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hey, Jays fans, ready to hit a home run with your next roofing project? Step up to the plate with GAF Timberline HDZ shingles, the official roofing shingle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Just like our Jays, GAF Timberline HDZ shingles deliver top performance with unmatched durability and protection. So, when it's time to cover your bases, choose the winning team. Visit your local Home Depot or shop online at homedepot.ca for all your roofing shingles and accessories. GAF, we protect what matters most.
We finally made it!
Tuesdays on City TV.
It's time for Celebrity Family Feud!
Survey says, get ready for a wild summer.
What you laughing at?
These celebrity teams are going to be battling it out.
As your favorite celebrities battle for bragging rights.
I'm panicking!
Name something that might be curvy.
Me.
Thank you.
Celebrity Family Feud. All new Tuesdays 7/6 Central on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
That ball is gone. Third home run in 4 batters for the Blue Jays.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 7th inning. Cubs 4, Blue Jays 2 at Wrigley Field. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Ben Shulman alongside Chris LaRue. Brendan Little into the game for the Blue Jays. They call on the southpaw reliever with the top of the order coming up for the Cubs. Ian Happ, Michael Busch, and Seiya Suzuki will bat this inning for Chicago. Little originally drafted in the first round by the Cubs in 2017, only ever made 1 appearance for Chicago, coincidentally against the Blue Jays. And now he pitches as a Blue Jay in his 31st appearance of the year against the Cubs. The pitch to Ian Happ. Outside ball 1. Happ today is 1 for 2, a double, a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. 1-0. Foul tipped the sinker into the glove of Kirk, 1-1.
Brendan Little's been pretty good this season. You'll see that mid-90s fastball from him, but it's not just the velo when you watch Brendan Little. It's also the sink on that fastball. He can throw that thing right down the middle, and you'll see guys like Ian Happ just swing right over the top of it.
Throws the sinker to the outside edge, just misses it. It's 2-1. For a rookie season, you'll take a 3.77 ERA for sure. Almost 30 innings pitched for Little now. 2-1. Bounce behind the plate foul. 2-2.
I think if you're Ross Atkins, you're probably penciling in Brendan Little for 2025. I can only assume.
It feels like you could pencil in 2 lefties for 2025 when you have Little and Genesis Cabrera going the way that they're going right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of work to be done to contend in 2025, but that is a nice luxury to have. 2-2. Hit in the air, left field, going back low Perfito. Ian Happ has left the yard. A huge home run, and it's 5-2 Cubs.
Well, right on cue. We were singing his praises. And Ian Happ drills a home run off Brendan Little. That was just a hanging knuckle curve from Little. Something you really don't see that often. He generally buries that curveball. Very good at getting swinging strikes on that curveball, but he leaves that thing about thigh high. And Ian Happ just demolished it to left field.
Happ hit that ball 473 feet. Out to left field, way back into the bleachers, almost off the scoreboard to make it 5-2. And now the first pitch to Michael Busch is down and away, ball 1. That's tied for the 5th longest homer in Major League Baseball this season. As Busch hits it on the ground now, backing up Guerrero, he fields it, overhand throw to Little, who stops to receive it, but still wins the race to first to get Busch. 1 out.
That was a tough play, not only from Brendan Little, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had to throw a strike. Throws a dart to a moving Brendan Little running to first base for out number 1.
A good recovery, but I'm still marveling at how deep Ian Happ hit that ball. I mean, the guy's tied with him for 5th longest home run, this season are Ohtani, Judge, and Trout. Seiya Suzuki hits the first pitch he sees on the ground is short. And a throw over to first by Leo Jimenez, 2 outs.
So if you had to make a list of guys that have hit the furthest home runs this season, Ian Happ would not be on that list.
Probably not. I mean, a good power hitter. That's his 21st home run of the season. But 473 feet is a territory that not many guys reach. 2 quick ground outs after the homer. Now Cody Bellinger takes strike 1. 5-2 Cubs. 2 outs and the bases empty. Bottom of the 7th. 0-1 pitch is hit on the ground to second, right at Will Wagner. Throw to first in time to end the 7th. Cubs extend the lead. A moonshot by Ian Happ makes it 5-2 Chicago as we go to the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's Fantasy Football Draft Month on Fantasy Sports Radio. Hear how the experts draft their teams right now.
Stroud should be right there, 8 through 12 range of quarterback, not a top 3, 4, or 5 guy.
And learn winning strategies to help you win your league.
The opportunity cost is passing on one of those grade 8 wide receivers when I can get Derrick Henry and Isaiah Pacheco in the 3rd or 4th round.
Channel 87. And if you missed any of our drafts, hear them right now. Just search Fantasy Drafts on the all-new Sirius XM app. Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know?
What's up, insiders? All right, we need the rally caps on. You see it? We got to get these rally caps going. Let's go. We'll switch it inside out. Boom. This is one of those 5950 caps. They don't do this very well, but whatever. We're going. Yeah, this doesn't work. Nope, it's not working. But hey, there you go. Get the rally caps on. Let's go, Blue Jays. Check out that link up there that's pinned up there for SickKids. We're doing our Blue Jays summer rally for SickKids Hospital in Toronto. There goes the hat. Now you get to see my bald head. All right, back to the action. Let's go, Blue Jays. Finish strong. Sorry, Cubs fans. Jays are coming back. Let's go.
Sirius XM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Porter Hodge into the game for the Cubs. 5-2 Chicago lead. 3 solo home runs from the bottom of the 5th to the bottom of the 7th have set the Cubs up with this lead, and their setup man, Hodge, now enters with the top of the order coming up for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Porter Hodge, a true rookie, only 24 career games, but he was a 13th round pick of the Cubs in 2019. I like those later round draft picks when they have some success.
High school draft pick, was a starter throughout most of his minor league career, but switched to relief midway in 2023, and it has worked out for him. 2.36 ERA. This is now his 25th game. His pitch to George Springer. Swing and a miss. 97-mile-per-hour fastball. 0-1. Pairs that mid-90s fastball with a low-80s sweeper. 0-1. Another heater at the bottom of the zone. Strike 2. Hodge winds and offers. Fastball a little bit upstairs and maybe a little bit too aggressive of a frame attempt from Amaya, as it was a borderline pitch, called a ball.
Yeah, I think we're spoiled watching Alejandro Kirk because he's so subtle with his movements.
1-2 pitch, cut on and miss, strike 3.
When you see a guy like Amaya, when you see a guy like even Brian Serban does this pretty obviously, he'll take that like a pitch that's obviously a ball. Everybody can see that it's a ball, and you'll bring it back into the strike zone. That's just not how you frame a pitch.
Right after the failed frame, though, a good sweeper to get Springer. And now Dalton Varsho swings at the first pitch fastball and rolls it through the middle for a base hit. Make it 15 games in a row that Dalton Varsho is on base. Didn't get all of that, but got enough on the ground ball to split the middle infield.
Yeah, I think Dalton Varsho will take that. Just a little roller up the middle. I wouldn't mind seeing him try to swipe a bag here.
Varsho's on first with one out. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. coming up to the plate. 5-2 Cubs, one out, top of the 8th. Hodges' pitch inside. Why do you like the stolen base in this situation?
Not that the Blue Jays need to get a guy in scoring position. It just takes out the double play, and I think that's an important factor late in a ball game like this.
1-0. Fastball freezes Guerrero, strike one.
Keep the inning alive, keep a rally going. I'm sure some people would disagree with me. Down by 3, your big power hitter up in a situation like this. I just like to take away the idea of a double play.
1-1. Called a ball. Looked pretty good at the top of the zone, but tough break for Hodge. It's 2-1. Guerrero has put it on the ground a lot today. 3 groundouts, 2 to third and 1 to second. Pitch from Hodge. Hit in the air, foul, right side, 2-2. Spencer Horwitz waiting on deck. First, the right-on-right pitch from Porter Hodge. In the dirt low, ball 3. Guerrero tracked that sweeper all the way down. Was really bent over looking at the ground as he watched it bounce. Maybe a full count of time to run for the Blue Jays with Varsho on first and 10 stolen bases. 3-2. Swing and a fly ball. Shallow left field. Happ, the 2-time Gold Glover, moving in. Moves to left center and makes the catch.
Tough break for the Jays right there. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. swung at ball 4. You could see him shaking his head as he goes down the stairs into that dugout, but it was just a spinning breaking ball. Probably thought that it was going to break over the middle of the plate. And it was one of those backup ones that just kind of gets in on your hand. So tough to hit. Hodge with getting lucky there.
So 2 down now, and right on left, Hodge deals with Horwitz. Strike 1. You mentioned Hodge is a rookie in this spot because of a lot of injuries for the Cubs. Adbert Alzolay and Yency Almonte, a projected closer and setup man to start the year, both on the injured list. Horwitz takes fastball, strike 2. That's forced the veteran Hector Neris into the closing role and Hodge into the setup role for the Cubs. Horwitz asks for time, steps out of the box for a moment. Now bounces the barrel of his bat off the plate. Varsho on first, 2 outs, 5-2 Cubs. And the 0-2 is a fastball for called strike 3. A hit in the inning for the Blue Jays, but no runs and 1 left on. At the middle of the 8th inning, it's 5-2 Chicago. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust.
What's up, Blue Jays fans? Did you know that we're live on Instagram and Twitter as well right now for this game? Please go check us out on Instagram and Twitter at @TS_insider and help our community continue to grow over there. Please hit that follow button, hit that little heart button on the broadcast, be greatly appreciated. And if not, if you don't have those two, check out our TikTok, because that one we actually need more help in. We've got to get up to that 1,000 follower mark in order to go live over there. So every single follow will be greatly appreciated. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Thanks for helping us continue to grow this awesome Toronto sports community. Go Jays, go.
$17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. I am by your side. Got a heart so big, on this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Middle lane fastball, but he puts it by Cruz. 2 down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 8th inning at Wrigley Field. Second oldest ballpark active in Major League Baseball to Fenway Park. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. The hometown Cubs leading 5-2 over the Blue Jays. Eric Swanson into the game for Toronto here in the 8th. Ishak Paredes, Nico Horner, and Dansby Swanson to hit for the Cubs. And Eric Swanson still working his way back into the form that he had last season, but since coming back up with the Blue Jays in mid to late July, more good than bad for Swanson.
Yeah, he's been a lot better, and I think the reason for that is just throwing strikes, especially with the split finger.
Misses up top to start the at-bat against Ishak Paredes, 1-0.
And I was talking about this earlier on in the broadcast, but the biggest thing when thinking about a split finger is getting on top of it. You have to stay on top of it, and you have to throw it down in the strike zone.
Throws a slider that's lifted to right field to George Springer, and he makes the catch, 1 out. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Fastball slider splitter for Swanson. His pitch to Nico Horner is a slider again, hit foul. When you talk about getting on top of it, you talk about the pizza grip, whether your hand is facing up and you're under it or not. Is there anything else physically, anything in your lower half or your mechanics that helps you get on top of it?
Well, I think when you're rushing your lower half, it's hard to get on top and get that release point right for a split finger. So you have to get the balance back on that back leg. For Eric Swanson, it's his right leg. You have to be deliberate with it. You can't rush anything.
One pitch misses down and away, 1-1.
And then you just have to really tell yourself while you're in your motion, get on top of this baseball. If you have to bury it, if you have to bounce it, that's better than leaving it about thigh high, just floating through the strike zone.
Another slider, and it's down and away, 2-1.
Slider happy today. Working on something.
Haven't seen the splitter yet. 2-1 pitch. There's the splitter, and it's fouled back, 2-2. That one probably started at the knees and ended up way down and in.
And that's exactly what you want from a split finger. You want it to start at the bottom of the strike zone, around the knees, and then have it break down out of the strike zone. That one right there was pretty good.
1 out, bases empty. 5-2 Cubs, bottom of the 8th. Horner asks for time and took a step out of the box, but he's back in now, and Swanson is set at the belt. From the first base side, the right-hander twists and delivers. Fastball chopped to short. Charging in Jimenez. Throws on the run to first and gets Horner 2 outs.
I also forgot that Wrigley has organ music.
Oh yeah,
that's also another thing that I love.
Organ music.
Just puts you in a good state of mind for an afternoon baseball game.
2:20 Eastern, 1:20 Central start to this ball game. And the pitch to Dansby Swanson, called strike, 0-1.
Where would you rather play, Wrigley Field or Fenway?
Fenway's kind of, I'm a big Fenway guy. So
you're an East Coast guy.
Yeah. 0-1. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Or I'll throw a wrinkle in there. How about Old Yankee Stadium?
Oh, that's tough. I'm still going to go Fenway, but it's close.
All right.
It's really close. 1-1. Splitter hit foul, 1-2.
I'm a Wrigley guy.
You're a Wrigley guy?
Yeah,
I mean, you did pitch at Wrigley.
Well, no, I just mean just the atmosphere, and I love Wrigleyville. I love the bars all around the stadium. And then again, I had the opportunity of having the bullpen on the field, and I think that changes how you actually feel about a stadium.
1-2. Bounce the slider down and away. I mean, you had one of the best seats in the house.
Like, no exaggeration, you're 2 feet from the first row. So these people are like staring at the back of your head. It's pretty awkward, actually.
Two outs in the 2-2. Dansby Swanson hits it on the ground to third. Running stop by Clement. And the throw over to first in time to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Eric Swanson. He sets down the Cubs. And we go to the ninth. Blue Jays need 3 to keep this game going, trailing 5-2. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
You heard him first on Sirius XM 3 years ago.
This is Jelly Roll. Now spend a magical summer night with this arena headlining superstar on an intimate small town stage.
Somebody say. Hear Jelly Roll perform live exclusively for Sirius XM at the Stephen Talk House on Long Island.
Plus coverage of our special post-concert Eat and Greet tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific.
On the highway, Channel 56.
And on the Sirius XM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on Sirius XM Channel 89 and every morning on the Sirius XM app.
When you want to hear the biggest names in the SEC, you tune in to Channel 374.
Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. I knew something had to change because that was not the season that I wanted to have. Too many ups and downs. I wanted to be more of a consistent player. Got started with cutting off the mullet, being straight business. You know, they talk about party in the back, business in the front, whatever it is. So it was time to just be strictly business.
Eliminate all the party.
Yeah. Right. Strictly business. And, you know, that was step one for me.
Catch the show every weekday from 8 to 11 a.m. Eastern.
Our goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's it for us.
Hear every stop of the 2024 training camp tour on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Brimstone.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali, our host and producer. David Siss producing as well. And Tom Young, our technical director today. Blair and Barker will follow the broadcast, so stick around after that. Blue Jays trying to put that off a little bit longer. They need 3 runs, though, in the top of the ninth to keep the game going, trailing 5-2. Into the game for the Cubs to try and finish this one and give the Cubs a series opening victory. The closer, Hector Neris, is in. 45th appearance of the season for the right-hander. 17 saves and 21 opportunities, but he hasn't blown a save since mid-June. Righties pitch to Alejandro Kirk. Inside, ball 1.
And hasn't been great this season, an ERA of 3.43, but he's been pretty good for a long time. In 23 with the Astros, he had a 1.71 ERA in 71 ball games.
Kirk swings and fouls back the 1-0, 1-1. And he's a guy with closing experience. Closed kind of on and off for the Phillies. Never had a tight grip on that job, but often was called upon to be the closer. One. Fastball on the outside edge, 1-2.
And his go-to pitch is a devastating split finger.
Yeah, it's not a high velocity fastball like a lot of closers, 92, 93, but it's a ton of swing and miss on the splitter, and he throws it there, but it bounces on the plate, 2-2.
And it's not hard either. It's 82 to 85 miles an hour. A lot of split fingers are upper 80s, even into the 90s. But Hector Neris has a really good vertical drop on that split finger, and like you said, gets a ton of swing and misses.
Fastball hit in the air, center field, charging in into a slide. Crow Armstrong rather, can't make the play. It bounces in front of him. And the Blue Jays have a leadoff base runner in the ninth, a single by Alejandro Kirk.
Good start right here for the Blue Jays. Alejandro Kirk singles in front of Crow Armstrong, and now Will Wagner comes to the plate.
Crow Armstrong got a bit of a late break on that ball. Looked like he thought it was hit further, and he did block it on the slide, but couldn't make the catch. And the name of the game for the Blue Jays is base runners. If you can get one more guy on, you bring the tying run to the plate. Wagner 1 for 3. A single, a fielder's choice, and a strikeout. The pitch from Neris. Fastball on the outside edge. Strike one. Right on left matchup, the 0-1. Slice back foul into the backstop, 0-2.
0-2 count here. You think we'll see a split finger?
I think so. What do you think?
Either elevated fastball or split finger down, but I tend to think split finger just because Will Wagner hasn't seen Neris yet in his career.
0-2. They go elevated fastball, but they miss inside.
Yeah. Well, it's 50-50. Flip a coin.
He technically has a slider. He rarely throws it. One-two. Throws the splitter that time, but a good take by Wagner. Missed down and away. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That was actually a really good take. A good split finger from Neris. It started in the strike zone and then dropped out of the strike zone. Like I said, Will Wagner is a guy that doesn't seem like he's only played in a handful of big league games.
2-2 pitch is a heater just up high, full count. Wagner's turned the 0-2 into 3-2. Runner on first for the Blue Jays. Nobody out in the top of the 9th. It's 5-2 Cubs. Payoff pitch. Swing and a liner up the middle into center field, a base hit. Kirk up to second, and the Blue Jays will bring the tying run to the plate. Another hit for Wagner, and a close call for Neris on the mound as that one went right over him.
Yeah, that was a line drive right back up the middle. It almost seemed like it was inches away from Hector Neris. I think it was.
Might have tipped him.
Right past his glove. I think he tried to stab at it, but he was more protecting himself than anything else. But again, another good swing from Will Wagner. You can see the excitement from Vlad in the dugout. Just a pro out there, a guy that hit .327 and .315 in the minor leagues. He's got something.
And now one big swing can change this game. Ernie Clement coming up for the Blue Jays. 7 home runs on the season, 2 singles today, and an RBI. Neris looks at second at Kirk and delivers home. Misses inside, 1-0. Let's go Blue Jays chance at Wrigley Field. First time Toronto's been here since 2017. The 1-0. Outside, 2-0. Neris has thrown 1 strike in his last 6 pitches, and it was the Will Wagner single up the middle. 2-0. Called strike, and he gets a break. That one looked below the knees, but it's 2-1.
Yeah, not a terrible pitch, but not a strike. Obviously, we have the benefit of that strike box, but at the same time, that's a big call. Could have been 3-0 right there for Ernie Clement.
Now the 2-1 is hit down the left field line, and it's blocked, but it trickles through the legs of the third baseman, Paredes, picked up by the shortstop Swanson, who throws to third to force out Alejandro Kirk. Looked like Kirk thought that Paredes had caught that ball perhaps, as he didn't get a great start off second. That one was hit hard down the left field line. Paredes got his glove on it, but it trickled just past him. And Swanson with the heads-up play to run it down and throw to third for the fielder's choice. Still runners on first and second now with 1 out.
Well, it was actually pretty decent base running from Alejandro Kirk. I know a lot of people won't believe me when I say that, but
first pitch to Joey Loperfido is strike 1.
When the ball is hit on a line like that, especially when you're that close to the play, your first reaction is to go back to your base. You don't want to get doubled off there, so you have to give Alejandro Kirk credit right there.
0-1. Loperfido hits it on a line up the middle into center field. Wagner headed to third. He'll stop there. 3 hits in the inning for the Blue Jays, and the bases are loaded as Joey Loperfido comes through.
Well, Loperfido didn't get all of that baseball. It was a good split finger down. Got it off the end of the bat, but was able to get it just enough to hit it into center field. Now the Blue Jays are cooking. Bases loaded here in the 9th inning.
That's going to bring a meeting on the mound. Hector Neris trying to slow down this inning that has started to snowball a little bit. 3 hits for the Blue Jays and 4 batters. And the tying run is on the base paths. The go-ahead run will come to the plate in the form of Leo Jimenez.
Well, who else do you want up in this situation but Leo Jimenez? Couple home runs in the last 4 games. He's turned into a power hitter all of a sudden.
He had a homer, a double, and 3 RBIs in the Anaheim series. And he's 1 for 3 today with a solo home run. Blue Jays have the full bench at their disposal, but perhaps with the recent success, Leo Jimenez stays up to hit in the 9th inning. Will Wagner at third, Ernie Clement at second, Joey Loperfido at first. 5-2 Cubs, 1 out, top of the 9th. The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Cubs coming off a sweep at the hands of the Guardians, led in all 3 of those games before dropping all 3. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss at that really good splitter, 0-2.
That one right there was about as good as it gets. Just nasty stuff from Hector Neris.
Starts at the knees and bounced by the time Miguel Amaya got his glove on. 0-2 count. Neris' 20th pitch of the inning. Hit in the air, foul. Back and off to the right of home plate. So Jimenez stays alive, fighting off that high fastball. You think he goes back to the splitter?
I would think so. I think that
0-2, another fastball. Hit foul to the right and out of play.
Yeah, it's flip a coin essentially at this point, but I think that regardless of what pitch you think he's going to throw or you want him to throw, it's going to be out of the strike zone. A fastball that's elevated up or a split finger that bounces just like that last one he threw to Leo Jimenez. But that split finger that he threw was just absolutely gross.
Another 0-2. Called strike 3. Threw the rare slider right on the outside corner. And Jimenez goes down. The Blue Jays down to their last chance.
Yeah, Jimenez was frozen by that pitch. It's almost like he didn't know what that pitch was.
And I believe that Craig Counsell or someone in the Cubs dugout, or pardon me, they've called a balk on the pitch. And that changes things in a dramatic way. Leo Jimenez is still at the plate now as that pitch doesn't count. Will Wagner in to score, Ernie Clement to third, and Joey Loperfido to second. So it's a 5-3 game, and there's only 1 out still as Jimenez is going to step back in with another life. A single now can tie this game. The 0-2. Bounced it, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, we haven't seen a replay yet on that balk, but we're about to see it right here. That's tough. I don't think you should call that there.
I think they were saying he didn't fully stop. There's a little bit of movement in the set. The glove starts high and comes down. Here's the 1-2. Bounced it again, 2-2.
He almost did it again right there. I just don't think that's the situation where you make that call. He's pretty quick when he comes to the bottom of that set every single time. So it's not like he's deceiving the runner or deceiving the guy at home plate in Leo Jimenez. That's just a tough call for the Cubs.
So the Blue Jays get a run on the balk. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Ball gets away off to the left. Throw down to first by the catcher Amaya to get Jimenez. That'll be a strikeout. And now The Blue Jays are down to their final shot here with George Springer coming up. Still, that balk has changed things pretty dramatically. Blue Jays in a hole, but with Loperfido on second and Clement on third, both running on contact. A single to the outfield by Springer could tie this game.
Yeah, all you need is a broken bat base hit right here.
First pitch. Springer takes it in the dirt, ball one. 0 for 4 day for the Blue Jays leadoff hitter, robbed of a hit in the first. One 0. Fouled back into the seats, 1-1. Action in the Cubs pen as Neris is about to throw his 30th pitch of the inning. 3 hits and a balk have led to a Blue Jays run. Tying run on second base with 2 outs. The 1-1. Way up and in, ball 2. For Neris, this is his most pitches of the season. 2-1. Swing and a fly ball. Left field. Ian Happ back. And that one's off the ivy, bouncing into the left field corner. Clement scores. Loperfido scores. Springer chugging for third. And he dives in with a game-tying triple.
Oh, yeah. Game-tying triple. Love it. Let's go, Blue Jays. We've got a new ball game here.
Strikes to play with. The Blue Jays come all the way back. George Springer's triple makes it 5-5.
Well, that was just a hanging split finger from Hector Neris right over the middle of the plate. And George Springer did not miss it. I thought for a second he might have got a home run there, but that thing just drills off the ivy out in left field. 2 RBIs, and this ball game is tied.
3 runs in this 9th inning for the Blue Jays. 4 hits off Hector Neris, and now Dalton Varsho fouls back the pitch to make it 0-1. And the go-ahead run is 90 feet away from the plate. Let's go Blue Jays at Wrigley Field again. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Varsho 1 for 4, facing an 0-2 count. The pitch from Neris. Outside with the splitter.
You think Alan Porter's going to get some heat for this, the third base umpire?
Probably. Although you could argue, how much does it matter? A couple extra pitches thrown, but the triple's going to score everyone anyway.
Right.
1-2. Fouled back. I think the biggest thing is that you have to throw 3 more pitches to Leo Jimenez before you face George Springer.
Right.
Blue Jays have Yanis Cabrera and Chad Green up. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. That will end the top of the 9th. Didn't look like it at one point, but we are going to the bottom of the 9th after a 3-run top of the 9th by the Blue Jays. It's a 5-5 game at Wrigley Field. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you.
Here we go, Blue Jays fans. All right, Stefan, Mulberry Miles, Lisa. Love it. Keep it going. There's Chris as well, Brimhawk. Let's go, Blue Jays. That's how you do it. Down to our last out. We get the game tied up. Got to see the replay on that balk, though. That's going to be interesting. But thank you, Blue Jays, for tying this game up, because when I'm going to be on the show with somebody soon, I need to be able to back up our boys. You got to be able to back up our Blue Jays. Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's finish strong. Let's finish through this bottom of the ninth and make sure that like button is hit. We're at 213. It's the best live we've done for the Blue Jays so far this season. Thank you all. Back to the baseball. See you in the chat.
That's back-to-back strikeouts
on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Ali with you. The Jays and Cubs tied at 5 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk this evening. Blair and Barker have the postgame show. They are standing by to take your calls. Jeff will throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. Blue Jays Baseball brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Jays and Cubs tied at 5 after a 3-run top of the 9th inning for Toronto. We're headed to the bottom of the 9th in Chicago. Here's Ben Shulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. A big comeback by the Blue Jays has us in this 9th inning. 5-5 game. Looks like George Springer in a crouch is still catching his breath and right, and you understand why. He had a game-tying 2-run triple with 2 outs and a strike on him to keep the game going. Now Jimenez Cabrera enters for the Blue Jays to try to send us to extras.
What?
This is a big game for the Toronto Blue Jays. I said tongue-in-cheek earlier in the broadcast that the Blue Jays could potentially get on a run and maybe make a playoff push. But look at the schedule. The schedule is a little bit soft over the next 10 days or so. You never know what's going to happen. This is a big 9th inning right here for Jimenez Cabrera.
They had Chad Green up as well. Probably if it was a save situation. Now in a tie game, they'll go to Cabrera. There is a lefty to start, but he has been pinch hit for here. Patrick Wisdom is going to pinch hit for Pete Crow Armstrong in the bottom of the 9th. Cabrera's pitch home. Fastball for strike 1 at 96. Cabrera has been a workhorse this year. This is his 52nd appearance, 3.5 ERA. 0-1. Swing and a miss at the big curveball, 0-2. Wisdom at one point one of the top power threats for the Cubs. A little bit more of a bench player at this point. His 56th game of the year, hitting .203 with 6 homers, but 23 or more home runs each of the last 3 seasons. The 0-2. Hit on the ground, foul down the left field line.
Well, I think Cabrera got away with one there. That's not where he wanted that 0-2 pitch. That 0-2 pitch was right down the middle, a curveball at 78. I think Patrick Wisdom just missed it, a little bit out in front.
Four-seamer, sinker, curve, cutter, and changeup for Cabrera. 0-2. High fastball. Wisdom leans back and lays off. Cubs led 2-0 in this game. Blue Jays came back. Cubs took a 5-2 lead, and now it's 5-5 in the bottom of the 9th. The 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Cutter at the knees gets Wisdom, who's still standing at the plate upset about it. 1 down.
Well, Wisdom didn't like that call, but that was a great pitch from Cabrera. Little cutter at the bottom of the strike zone. That was definitely a strike right down the middle. Alejandro Kirk with the perfect frame as per usual.
And Cabrera knew it right away, skipping off to the third base side of the mound. Now his pitch to Miguel Amaya. Curveball, strike 1. Amaya has a homer today. Hit a solo shot in the 5th inning, went back-to-back that inning with Pete Crow Armstrong. 0-1. Curveball low. First matchup in 7 years between the Blue Jays and Cubs at Wrigley Field. And it has been worth the wait so far. The 1-1. Outside at 97. Cabrera sets at his chest, kicks and delivers home. Swing and a fly ball. Right field. Springer has room, and on the edge of the warning track makes the catch. 2 outs.
Well, I think Cabrera broke Amaya's bat on that fastball. It looked off the bat like it could have a chance to get out of here, but from the sound, I think Amaya broke his bat and hit a lazy fly ball to George Springer in right field.
So 1 out now separates this game from extra innings. Nobody on for the Cubs. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. 5-5 game, and Ian Happ is up, the switch hitter, batting right. The pitch. Swing and a pop-up. First base side foul. Guerrero near the Blue Jays dugout. Reaches in and makes the play. Barely keeping on his feet. He snatched it out of the lap of someone on the Blue Jays bench. And we will go to extra innings. A 1-2-3 frame pitched by Jimenez Cabrera. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off in the 10th. When we return, you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Blue Jays. That's it right there. Genesis Cabrera with a great inning. The announcer even said it. He needed to have a big spot. This is a big spot to be in for a young kid. Wrigley Field, bottom of the 9th, holding them off, and he comes through with flying colors. Love it. Here we go. Vladdy leading things off. He's got Varsho at second base. Let's get some runs this inning, Blue Jays fans. Thanks for being here. Make sure you've hit that like button down below. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button. Help this awesome community keep growing, and check out that pinned link in the chat. If you can, please donate to SickKids Hospital in Toronto. We're running our Blue Jays summer rally. All those Cubs fans here in the chat, 844 people here tonight. Please, somebody, send us a donation to SickKids. We're already $200 to our $1,000 goal. I will announce the donations live in the chat and live on the screen. Back to the baseball. Let's go, Blue Jays. Big inning. Score some runs.
Single Addison Barger, 5-run frame so far.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Ali with you. The Jays and Cubs tied at 5 as we head to the top of the 10th inning at Wrigley Field. Extras in Chicago. Quick check of the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Yankees at Tigers goes at 6:40 Eastern, 3:40 Pacific on Sportsnet. Red Sox at O's goes at 7:05 p.m. Eastern, 4:05 p.m. Pacific on Sportsnet 1. Boston reinstating Tristan Casas from the 60-day IL earlier this afternoon. Blue Jays baseball, of course, is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. The Jays and Cubs tied at 5 as we head to the top of the 10th inning at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Automatic runner time. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much. So the automatic runner for the Blue Jays is Dalton Varsho on second base in this 5-5 game. That means Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off for Toronto. Spencer Horwitz and Alejandro Kirk scheduled to hit as well against the right-hander who comes from a funky angle. It'll be Tyson Miller on the mound. His pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a fastball inside, ball 1.
Well, normally I don't love free baseball, but free afternoon baseball at Wrigley Field with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the plate, I'll take that every day.
See how Vlad fares against Miller. He's making his 40th appearance of the year. 1-0 is hammered left field. Going back, Happ, and he leaps on the track to make the catch. Varsho cannot advance. Guerrero slamming his bat down. He just missed it. And there's 1 out.
Yeah, well, he got that off the end of the bat. That was a sweeper from Miller, and it off the bat, it looked like he hit that thing about 500 feet. I think Vlad thought he might have got it as well, but just stays in here. Ian Happ catches it on the warning track, almost against the ivy out there in left field.
And it's deep to the corners at Wrigley Field. 355 to the poles. Now an inside move and a look at Dalton Varsho. Spencer Horwitz to the plate. 1 out, 5-5. Top of the 10th. Miller with a peek at second. And the pitch home. Popped him up. Foul territory, third base side, but into the seats. For Miller, and really his first extended time at the major leagues, it has been a very successful season. Earned run average with the Cubs is 141 in now 32 appearances. Did pitch a little with Seattle this year, still sub-2 on his ERA on the year. 0-1 pitch to Horwitz is hit in the air, center field. Cody Bellinger just moved out there, and he makes the catch in left center. 2 down. Bellinger into center, and Mike Tauchman into the game to play right field. That's because Pete Crow-Armstrong was substituted out for the pinch hitter Patrick Wisdom, who's now been taken out for Tauchman.
And if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, this is probably about worst-case scenario to start this inning off. You have that guy at second base to lead off the inning, 2 fly balls, and he hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Now Alejandro Kirk. Marshall on second, the pitch. Hit on the ground and picked up at short by Swanson. The throw over to first gets Kirk. And this game is still tied as we go to the bottom of the 10th. The automatic runner is all the Cubs need to score to win this ball game. 5-5 at Wrigley Field. We'll be back in a sec. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Blue Jays are inviting you to
behold the mightiest assembly ever witnessed. We are all gathered in the darkness. Together we can be the light. I call upon every crew. We need you all to join our fight for a new SickKids, and we need you now. Who's with us? Who is with us?
Are you with us, insiders? Let's go. You heard the man. Let's donate some money to SickKids. Anything that you can is a huge help. Cheers, insiders. Let's change the world.
Is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swanson staring at second, comes home with a 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
On Sportsnet 590 The
Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue with the call.
Thank you very much, Joe. Chad Green into the game, 38th appearance of the year for the righty. A sub-2 ERA, and he's got a tough job here. In a 5-5 game in the bottom of the 10th, he has to prevent the Cubs from scoring the automatic runner to send us to the 11th.
Well, now that we know that that is the winning run out at second base, you have to be very careful to every single hitter, especially this first guy. There's an open base. If you fall behind, then you have to start pitching differently.
Michael Busch will lead it off, the rookie. First pitch fastball outside, 1-0. Ian Happ's the automatic runner on second base. He's pretty quick. They decide not to try to bunt him over here, but instead let Busch swing away. 1-0. High ball 2.
And now you're behind in the count, 2-0. I mean, you have to think about pitching around this guy and moving on to the next one.
2-0. Slider hit on the ground, foul.
2-0 slider. That tells you exactly where their head is at.
Busch walked off the Padres on May 7th this year. Acquired via trade from LA in the offseason. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, and the count's 2-2. Just like that, Chad Green right back in the count. Righty licks his fingers and wipes his hand off on the back of his pants. Looks in toward Alejandro Kirk. Happ on second, no outs. The 2-2. High heater, Busch laid off, full count. Seiya Suzuki and Cody Bellinger will also hit this inning for the Cubs. 3-2 pitch. Fastball hit back behind the plate, foul. That was 96, right at the top of the zone.
I like that elevated heater there. Even if he makes contact, the only thing he's really going to do with that pitch is pop it up.
He does love to work up there. We'll see if he does it again. 3-2. Fastball just outside, ball 4. Gutsy take from Bush. It did look like a ball, and he'll head down to first with a walk.
I'm okay with that walk. Like I said, you have the open base. The winning run is still at second base. He didn't go anywhere, but now you have to throw strikes.
You do set up some forces, give yourself a chance at a double play. But there are 2 on here for Seiya Suzuki. Winning run is on second, like Chris mentioned. Ian Happ on second, Michael Bush on first. Right on right, the pitch to Suzuki. High slider, ball 1. Seiya Suzuki is 0 for 4. A pop-up, 2 strikeouts, and a groundout. 1-0. Slider for a called strike. Nobody up in the Toronto pen. Ryan Burr is stretching, but this inning belongs to Chad Green. The 1-1. Check swing on a slider down and away. They decide not to appeal. 2-1. Green kicks and delivers. Swing and a miss. A good slider on the outside corner. And once again, he finds himself in a 2-2 count. Green looking to the plate, sets at his chest. A look at second, the 2-2. Ground ball through the whole left side into left field. Happ around third, headed to the plate. The throw is laid, and the Cubs walk it off. Seiya Suzuki is the hero for Chicago. He spoils the Jays' 9th inning comeback, and the Cubs take the opener in the series 6-5.
Well, you just knew that when the Blue Jays didn't score in their top part of the 10th, that the Cubs' chance of winning was pretty high, especially with that leadoff guy at second base. And Suzuki comes through with the game-winning RBI.
The Cubs take the opener from the Blue Jays. 4 straight wins over the Blue Jays at Wrigley Field. A valiant effort to come back from down 5-2 in the 9th inning. But Seiya Suzuki with a big knock to end it. 6-5 the Cubs win. We're going to take a quick step aside, wrap this one up on the other side of the break, and get you over to Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Jays fans, tough way to lose. Tough way to lose, Jays fans. Iron Slugger, congrats there. You did. You said you knew it. Thanks for hanging out with us, Cubs fans and Blue Jays fans. It's all right. We'll get it back tomorrow. The sweep didn't propel us to this victory today, but it did propel us to that comeback. So thank you all for hanging out with us. I will let the postgame run as always. If you're a fan, you're here. You're gonna let the postgame run. So as long as I've got the feed, it'll run, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for hanging out. Have a great rest of your evening. Start the weekend off right, not like the Jays did. Cheers, everybody. See ya. Great to see you again, too, Touch Football Noob Leggett. That's awesome. Glad you're here. We'll see you soon. Come back again. Don't be a stranger. The hockey season's coming. Just a few more weeks. We'll be ready for the Leafs games. But until then, we gotta keep cheering on these Blue Jays. Jansen Dennis in the chat. What's up, Jansen? Good to see you, man. And we'll see you guys real soon. Don't forget that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell as well if you have not done so already. Go Jays, go. Congrats to the Cubs for taking this one. See you guys.
Fall in the series opener to the Cubs 6-5 on a walk-off by Seiya Suzuki. Toronto dropping to 57-65 with this one. Thanks so much for sticking around. Blue Jays Talk is coming up in just a second. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. And Chris, let's start with the starters today as we go back through this game. Kyle Hendricks facing off against Yariel Rodriguez. And on the Blue Jays side, Rodriguez got into trouble early, settled down from innings 2 to 4, but then gave up a couple more runs in the fifth. He ended with 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. What did you think of his day?
Well, I thought that he was pretty good for the majority of the day. Like we talked about during the broadcast, he only made 3 or 4 bad pitches in his 88 pitches, but it just so happens that those 3 or 4 pitches were absolutely crushed. 3 home runs given up in this ball game, and that's kind of the story of the game. Outside of that, you have Will Wagner, who continues to crush big league pitching and not only just get base hits, but he is hitting balls on a line. He's getting it barreled up, and you have to be impressed with what he's showing so far.
Wagner with a single in the second inning became the 7th Blue Jay ever with 6 hits in their first 3 games. And then after the Blue Jays got a run in the 4th, and Alejo Jimenez homer in the 5th, the Blue Jays entered the 9th, asking for a rally from Wagner and others. It was 5-2 Cubs at the time in the 9th, and the Blue Jays got a leadoff single from Alejandro Kirk. Wagner came up with his second hit. After an Ernie Clement fielder's choice, Joey Loperfido came up with a base hit to load the bases. Abach would score the first run, and then the other 2 to tie it up came on a George Springer triple with 2 outs in the 9th. Pretty big hit for the right fielder.
Yeah, and it was you could see just how excited he was. And I know that he's had some big hits in his career, but to be at Wrigley Field, an afternoon game on a Friday afternoon in front of 40,000 people, that has to feel good for him, for a guy that struggled for the majority of this season. He's been hot for about a month or so, but to hit that hanging split finger from a very good closer in Hector Neris, I mean, that's kind of the icing on the cake over the last month and a half or so for George Springer.
That tied it up at 5-5. Springer left on third base in the 9th. Genesis Cabrera pitched a 1-2-3 bottom of the 9th, but the Blue Jays could not score or even move the automatic runner in the 10th inning. That put Chad Green in a tough spot, and he gives up the single to Seiya Suzuki that scores automatic runner Ian Happ, and the Cubs win the game 6-5. The Blue Jays go to 57-65. The Cubs are now 60-63 after that one. Blue Jays with 5 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, 7 left. Cubs with 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors, 7 left. Tyson Miller with the win in relief. Chad Green with the loss. On a loud crowd of almost 40,000 at Wrigley Field, the Cubs take it 6-5. Thank you so much for tuning in to this one. The next game coming up tomorrow at 2:20 once again. We hope you can tune in to Chris Bassett against Justin Steele. And thank you for tuning in to our game coverage today. For our technical director, Tom Young, our producer, David Siss, our host and producer, Sho Ali, and my partner, Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Have a great rest of your Friday and stick around. Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker starts right now.
This has been Major League Baseball play-by-play on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Why do I love calling this game? Calling this game?
Calling this game.
Calling this game?
Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game! It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet.
Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center.
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play. Oh, my.
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.
I don't believe what I just saw.
And the way the right voice can make a moment live forever.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Outsiders may think this is just 2 teams.
A ball, a bat, and a microphone. But no.
For over 100 years, this has been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck it out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
the soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio right now on Sirius XM.
All rise.
Coming in 5.
Get ready to play.
4.
Get up! Get up!
3.
Can you believe it? Put your seatbelt on. Wow. Talk about the game and all the stories on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89 and the Sirius XM app.
Rangers on Sirius 139, XM 183 and Internet 867. Twins on Internet 856. Spanish feed on Sirius 162, XM 184 and Internet 870.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. Sirius XM, Channel 89.
Host of the leadoff spot on SiriusXM MLB Network Radio, Steve Phillips, was with Mike Farron to talk about Jack Flaherty with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Jack Flaherty on his way to the Dodgers for a pair of prospects, Tyron Liranzo and Trace Sweeney. And I'll be honest, the first reaction to that trade is it feels a little light when we saw so many starters and relievers get moved for so much. As good as Flaherty has been this year, Steve, I was a little surprised that there wasn't more to the return that the Tigers got for the next 2 months of Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, I think that it is a little surprising. And Andrew Friedman, again, I think the price he paid for Tommy Edman and Michael Kopech was a little light as well. And, oh, by the way, he got a prospect back in that deal, too, which I found interesting. But I'm surprised a little bit as well. And maybe it got down to the end where it became a bit of a panic mode where we better make the move. And they kind of got pushed late to close it out. And so it's interesting to see, and we'll get some of the fallout on some of this as time goes on and how the negotiations played out. But I'm with you. I would have thought there would have been a little more of a price to be paid for Flaherty because I like him more than I do Kikuchi. I like him more than some of the other starters that got moved, and the price down a little bit. But I have to tell you, Mike, that you think about this trade deadline, it was a seller's market, but there was so much buying.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio, SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM MLB schedule for Friday, August the 16th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. 2:20 p.m. Chicago Cubs take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Cubs on Sirius 208, XM 175, and Internet 844. Blue Jays on Internet 868. 6:40 p.m. Pittsburgh Pirates face the Seattle Mariners. Pirates on Sirius 106, XM 179, and Internet 861. Mariners on Internet 864. 6:40 p.m. Philadelphia Phillies take on the Washington Nationals. Phillies on Sirius 211, XM 178, and Internet 860. Nationals on Internet 869. 6:40 p.m. Cincinnati Reds taking the Kansas City Royals. Reds on Sirius 209, XM 176, and Internet 846. Royals on Internet 851. 6:40 p.m. Detroit Tigers take on the New York Yankees. Tigers on Sirius 210, XM 177, and Internet 849. Yankees on Internet 858. 6:50 p.m. Tampa Bay Rays take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Rays on Sirius 119, XM 180, and Internet 866. Diamondbacks on Internet 840. 7:05 p.m. Baltimore Orioles take on the Boston Red Sox. Orioles on Sirius 137, XM 181, and Internet 842. Red Sox on Internet 843. 7:10 p.m. New York Mets face the Miami Marlins. Mets on Sirius 138, XM 182,